Hello, friends. Welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. Welcome to a coding Q&A stream where we will be answering, or I will attempt to answer your questions. Welcome to the Coding Garden. I'll say, let's talk. If you're new here, check out the frequently asked questions. Here, click that link. There are a lot of things that a lot of people ask frequently. So if you go here, your question is likely answered there. For things that are not answered here, that's what today's stream is for. And if you type !Vox in the chat, you can get a link to this website and all the chat commands that you will need. So there are chat commands you can run, which will allow you to ask a question. And Top has asked a frequently asked question. So when you figure out the answer, Top, let me know. And you will find that answer here on the frequently asked questions. But if you would like ask a question, like Mr. Demon Wolf just did, who said, "How are you doing this fine day?" I'm doing pretty good, Mr. Demon Wolf. Thanks for being here. And you do this, it shows up here, and then you can also vote on it. So any of these that you see little icons underneath them, that means people have voted on them. And as you can see, there are 430 already asked questions. If you... it's probably better if you just upvoted an existing question. I'll say this in a bit. These questions are going to turn purple. Purple are the ones that I'm going to be answering today. I'll talk about what that means. And you can also add comments to questions. So like if you need to follow up, you can add a comment right below a question like that. Yeah, blue screen. Top's got it. What else? Somebody said something. I feel like it was semi-important. Oh yes, the Sheboss. Hello, the Sheboss, who said, I need to add the archive command. But yes, if you've asked a question and you don't want it to be here anymore, you can do !archive followed by that question number and it will disappear. Cool. I think that's it. I think we're ready to say hi. do the thing we came here to do. Yeah, I think so. Welcome everyone. Good morning. It is Labor Day. I don't have work today, but I'm not going to stream all day. Let's see how long. Yeah. Commence. Now we begin. What's up, Alka? Everyone join me in playing the drop game. Here's the thing you can do here. If you do !drop me, that will drop your avatar, as you see some of the other people have done. There's mine right here, and if it lands in the Coding Garden, you will get your name on my screen. 24-hour stream. No. Looks like nobody's landed. Got to get some better drops in than that. Come on. That's gonna be okay, it's a tiny one. Both of them right on top of each other. We've got Christopher and I can't see the other one. I can't, but great work. Good job, everyone. Those were both two good jobs from Juan and Eternal Dev Coder and Happy Jojo. Great work. You could do that throughout the stream. It's fun. Also, you see this little LED thing right here. You can set that. It's kind of hard to see right now, but if you type !LED followed by 8 zeros or ones, an 8-bit number, it will turn off or on the corresponding bits. All right, and if you I will reiterate, if you have a question, you absolutely want to use these chat commands, because otherwise your question will get lost in the chat and I'll never see it. But if you put your question here, like these people have done, it's more likely for me to see that question. Hello. I have seedling points for sale. Are we going to start a whole black market of Coding Garden seedling selling? And what they're talking about is the channel redemption points here. Okay, we got a few followers. Let's welcome the new followers in, and then we'll say hi to everybody, because that's what we do here. What's up, Dogon? Thank you for the follow. And Carl Donadell and Lionel, welcome. What's up, Mert? And Real JS, thank you all for following. We have a couple of hydrates. Oknot now. Cheers. Thank you for the hydrate. The Sheboss is at 101,000 seedling points. Well, I'm at infinity. I don't think anybody's going to be able to beat that. Yeah. And Marco. Cheers. Thank you for the hydrate as well. A couple more follows. Who are you? BBT. Thank you. And LGT. LG Trucks. Thanks for being here. If we are... wait, what is that in reference to? I don't know. Where do I put questions? Yeah, so there. This will help you. Go to that website. You type your question in the chat, but you have to type your question in a very specific way. We got more follows. Let's say hi to the followers. Top Swag Code, thanks for being here, and Bright Shaper, thanks for the follow as well. 105,000 with some big item spends. Yeah. Oh, I see Effie. Okay, let's say hi to everybody. So, morning, Greg. Welcome to the show. If you would like me to acknowledge you, you can say hi, hello, hey, morning, afternoon, good day. I saw somebody mentioned earlier, you can say good day without an apostrophe. That is allowed. Or good day with an apostrophe. Or coding hio. Or vohio. And I think we'll add in boga hey as well. I see some boga hays. What's up, Howard? Howdy. Boga hey. Just like that. Getting warm with PHP Storm. Nice. Yeah, and I'll remind you, if you have a question, use the commands, because it will be lost. Let's do it. Let's say hi to everybody. Okay, we're going back in time to 52 minutes ago from Nebula Razor. Hello. Welcome to the show. What's up, FV and Fluffy Horselips and Fishy Coding? Sequel Gordster, how's it going? Hello, the Omni King and Lou and Someone Amazing and Slake and Mark and Christopher and Sven and Coding Pasta and Adu. Welcome. Hello, Copper and Terrazoid. I feel like it's been a few streams since I've seen you, Terrazoid. Welcome. Hello, Boat Moat. I'm a senior in college and looking for a development job in Seattle. Any advice is welcome. Here's the thing. You got to be more specific than that. I can give advice all day about what? I don't know. Do you want job advice? I'm not very good at giving that, but if you ask a specific question, I can try to help. PyDev, how's it going? What's up, Bebba? If I don't get time to watch now, I'll be a bit busy. Oh, cool. Well, thanks for dropping by. What's up, Taru? Morning. Black Bunny, how's it going? Hello, Function Jarvis and Cheo, and Hekanch says, didn't get the notification from Twitch. I got here from a YouTube notification. I try to do many things to get people here, so that's good. How's it going? We're going to do some questioning and answering today. Hello, Proxin and Flu Live. How's it going? What's up, Matron and Bimsicle and Doc and Alka and Dev says, excited to see your live today. Very cool. Thanks for being here. What's up? I'm Tom Eddy and Fdoom and Marco. Hello. What's up, Adrian and This Code Rocks and Eternal Dev Coder and John and Javis and Happy Jojo, who says, hope you're all going to have wonderful day or evening. Thank you very much, Happy Jojo. And what's up, PCM? And Zhao and Golden Way says, do coding reviews have to be in a specific language or environment? So we typically do code reviews every other week. We did one this past Friday. We'll do one probably not this Friday, but next Friday. I know JavaScript. So that's probably where you're going to get the best advice from me. I'm open to reviewing other things, but I don't potentially know all of the best practices or different things like that, but I do know a little bit about like clean code and refactoring and stuff like that. And I've used a lot of different languages in the past, but I've been using JavaScript for the past 5 years or so, mainly JavaScript. I've done a little bit of other stuff too. But yeah, so I'm open to it. And there's also a potential get your points back guarantee if it's not useful. So you're welcome to submit it. And what's up, Glenza? Welcome back. Hello, Smiley, and Kuzi, and Casper, and Prasanth, and Richard, and Sir Goldman, and Pat Dev, and Olaf. Good morning. What's up, Abdi, and Drunk Time Lord? Yeah, it's optional. You can say good day without the apostrophe. And what's up, Mr. Demon Wolf, and Thon? What questions would you ask a web developer in an interview? What all practical questions will you give? I'm not a fan of just like asking straight just like trivia style questions. I do not like those types of interviews because it has nothing to do with how that person is actually going to perform on the job. So I like to do or like to give a coding challenge. I have a prompt, some requirements, and that challenge should take no more than an hour. I'm not trying to get free work out of the person. I just want to see, can they follow directions, and do they write good code? And then if they pass that, we'll potentially do like a pair programming interview where, again, we won't do real work, but we'll figure out something that we can work on together, and we'll see how we work together. But if you just Google top 100 JavaScript interview questions, I do not like that. people give those kinds of interviews because I don't know, just because they do, but I don't like those kinds of interviews. What's up, David? And Itakito, good luck with the greetings. Well, thank you very much. And how's it going, Sightseer and Sniper and Big Boots? First time watching a live stream. Welcome, welcome. Discovered me from YouTube. Good morning, the Shivas and JS Noob and Prawin and Abalash and Mickey and Julian. What's up? And hello, LG Tarax and Jeff and Leachy and Zuser and Netty Socket and Kabanks and Nessie and Silver Design. How's it going? What's up, Kevin and Juan and Nick Tyndall and Julian and Jay Getachu and Strategy First and Lakshman and Howard. How's it going? Hello, Fset and Fairland and R Cooled and Overdose of Sadness. Welcome, welcome. Good morning, Greg. Thanks for being here. What's up, Nikos and Gavin and Wanma and Dark Coder and Tarzan and Explosion. Welcome to the show. Hello, Ario and Jakob, who says getting warm with PHP Storm. Very good. Jackson, how's it going? Who says, how do I expose my backend to my front end when deployed, and how do I secure it? Thanks for all your content. You're very welcome. This is like a very general question. We do this a lot here. I mean, we deploy a front end, we deploy a back end. Typically, I use either Surge for front end stuff or Versal, which used to be called Now. And Mastermind is here. What's happening? Yeah, Mastermind. What's up? It's been a while. Welcome to the show. But if you look at my frequently asked questions, I have a link to the different types of deployment things that I use. So my frequently asked questions are split up into most asked questions, things about the stream itself, things about the history of the coding garden, personal questions that you might have for me, and then technical preferences. And this is under that, I believe. Yeah, what's your preferred deployment method? And here are a few that you can see. But whatever we do or answer or build or whatever code we write today, we'll try to deploy it and try to answer that question. And what's up, DHU? And please, Mark Darkly, how's it going? Quick stretch. Quick stretch. Boga, hey, White Legend. All right. Parak, how's it going? Hello, Trantor and Rami and Harshit and Folky Bits and Nasup and Orbite and Dafael. Hello. What's up, Binary King and Rahul and Qson and Cognos Boy? Have I ever used Meteor? No. I mean, I've debugged it. I helped somebody else with it, but I've never used it directly. What's up, Yubu and MB Dealer and Sound of Gaming and Jose and Denab and Rushit and Legendary ACP and Free Debugs and Cheyenne and German and Mastermind. Welcome to the show. You saw the shout out for Mastermind, but you should definitely check him out. Though, I don't know if I've seen you streaming recently. I don't know, but check him out. Click that link, drop a follow. He does all kinds of cool stuff. What's up, Awaited and Albert and White Legend, who says, hope you're having a great day. You're making our day great just by being here for us. Well, thank you very much, White Legend. What's up, Varun and Nick Roy and S-Fox, who says, what in-ears do I use? Oh, hey, thank you for the question, because I have updated my gear page. So if you check out coding.garden/gear, it looks somewhat decent now. It used to just be a table, and now it's more than that. But if you click on the section microphone, audio mixer, and monitoring, I tell you about this microphone and this mixer I'm using and the KZ ZS10 Pros. And there's a link to them there. So check it out. Oh, and also I'm actually fairly proud of this diagram. Look at this diagram. This is how all my stream stuff is set up. We've got the condenser microphone here. It's got an XLR output here. That goes to my mixer over here, XLR input, right? And then I've got my laptop right here, and that has... Actually, it's not... This diagram's a lie, because mine's a little more complex than this, because I actually have a USB audio interface that then has left-right audio out, which is plugged into my mixer, but in the simplest case, you could actually just use an aux2 RCA input cable. And then I got a capture card, and that goes, I got an HDMI out from this laptop, goes to a capture card, and that goes into the streaming computer, and then this camera right here has an HDMI output, which goes into a capture card, which goes to the streaming computer as well. But I'm very proud of this diagram. It's literally just boxes and lines, but I like it. I feel like you could explain anything with boxes and lines. You can explain most things with boxes and lines, but this is all the way at the bottom of the page if you want to see that. Okay. Nice, nice. Okay, good morning, Millen and Jesmerandi, welcome. First time seeing me live, welcome, welcome. Main Roamer player says, can you tell me how would you connect a backend proxy server with a front-end React server in a professional manner? Probably. But like I mentioned earlier, if you want to get your question answered, you should put it here. There. Put it there. And what's up, Marty and Mowgli and Plata King? How's it going? Thank you for all your help. Your video has helped me through coding camp. Oh, that's good to hear. Good to hear. Mock says, you think you could get a job with a CS degree alone? Yeah, because most places are used to hiring people with just CS degrees. Now, you're going to have a harder time than people that have also had internships. Like, having internships is like a way of getting job experience, and typically people get internships like during the summer, like while they're still in school. You may actually have to get an internship right out of college or university, but what am I saying? I don't know what I'm saying, but don't work for free. That's the other thing. Even though it's called an internship, you should be getting paid as much as a junior software dev. What's up, Myasin and Ponchu? Today at work, I was procrastinating watching your video about the travel log. Oh, nice. Very nice. Thanks for being here. What's up, Mr. Thomas? And 024MT420 says, morning. Thought I'd come see what you're up to before work. Just have to switch computers. Well, nice. Thanks for dropping by. We actually just got done saying hello. That was a surprisingly fast way of doing it. What's up, Webster? If anyone is here and I have not said hello to you, you can say hi right now, and I will acknowledge you. What's up, Black Matt? How's it going? And Clink50 Vohio. Or Ohio. Yeah, hi. Hi. What's up, yes, sir? No worries, thanks for dropping by. What's up, Ferlith, and Jaquan, and Pratik, and Janmuth? Hello, hello. And Ashatosh, and Shiftil, welcome to the show. CJ is being efficient today. Yeah. I don't take no crap. What's up, Jack Stride? And Ragneb, and Tom Coos. Getting things done today. What's up, Precious? Welcome to the show. Fairland. Hi, Eddie. Hi. I feel like I didn't see your message. Maybe you said hello earlier, Fairland. Quavy Baron. I've just started learning Python. Very nice. What's up, Ronald? All right, let's get into it. We've gotten a few follows. Who are you? Shiftil, thank you for the follow. Arbery, thank you for the follow as well. Yubu, thanks for following. GDevTech, thanks for being here. What's up? Nasty Date. And Fairlith Unknown. And Avdaloka, thank you all for those follows. Very much appreciated. Working on Labor Day. This is not work. That's the thing. If this were work, I wouldn't do it. Like, if this felt like work, I would stop doing it. This does not feel like work. We're just here. There are a lot of questions to answer, but I could choose to answer none of them. That's the freedom that I have. I am choosing to answer these questions, and it's not work. It's fun. It's fun. What's up, Black Man? And thank you, Jesmerandi. Thanks for being here. And Platy King, thank you for the follow as well. Hello, Hamza. Welcome. So what am I doing today? Thanks for asking. We're answering questions. You can do like this person has done. I lost my medic. You do !ask followed by your question, and it will appear here. And what I'm about to do is go through these questions. That's it. Also, if you do this, I'm going to try to keep this updated today while we're doing things. Let's skip every other what? Free debugs? What are you talking about? If you go to this working on page, somebody remind me in a second, because I'm gonna update like what question am I answering right then and there. Yeah. No, this isn't an improv stream. The chicken tender came from an improv stream. And hello, Bernard. Welcome to the show. Okay. We got another follow. Who was it? It was you, Bernard. Thank you for following. And Dark Coder, cheers for the hydrate. And Fairland as well. I forgot my water upstairs. Darn it. Somebody reminded me to get that in like 30 or 40 minutes, but cheers. And I guess I didn't click the button, but thank you, Bernard, and thank you, Murdaka Dev. All right. Things happened. All right. I don't know if I'm hearing alerts. Does it appear like I can't hear the alerts, like the alerts are happening and I'm not acknowledging them? Because I think something is wrong. That's exactly the case. Yeah, because my sound is actually down right now. Okay. Thank you, Fluffy Horse Lips, for the subscription. That's why I'm so productive, is because I can't hear my notifications. Okay, we're gonna go back and acknowledge everyone. Wait, what? That's a bug! How did this happen? How did this happen? Twitch, if you're watching, Lakshman has resubscribed for 5 months over and over and over again. Well, let me just refresh this page, I guess. Oh well. Ollie the Bear, thank you for that 2-month Twitch Prime resub. The Shebas, thank you for that 5-month Twitch Prime resub. Oknot now, thank you for the 3-month resub. LG Trox, thanks for that Twitch Prime sub. Lakshman with the 5-month resub. Over and over and over again. It's actually relevant though for those of you that tuned into the code review stream. We mentioned that Lakshman coded the whole thing on his phone, and he doesn't have a keyboard, but we got him a keyboard. I sent him an Amazon gift card, and he's got a keyboard in the mail. So that's awesome. Do you do pure events? Yeah, but yeah, we got Lakshman a keyboard. So thanks everyone that donated during the code review stream. What's happening, Twitch? Lakshman, let me know. Did you actually click the button over and over again? But yeah, Real Max. Thank you for that 3-month Twitch Prime resub. And Conrad with the 5-month Twitch Prime resub, who says, hi, friends. And again, Lakshman again. And Fluffy Horse Lips, thank you for that tier 1 sub as well. What's up, Tropical Winter? Welcome to the show. Well, thank you, Gopher. I'm gonna keep, like I said, I'm gonna keep doing it as long as it's fun. Let's answer some questions. So if you have asked a question, type exclamation mark here in the chat, and any question that has been asked today is gonna bubble up to the top. They're sorted by mods first, then VIPs, then subs. They're ordered by oldest at the top, so it helps me sort through them. First question from Lechi says, have you used multiple monitors? How do you find the transition from using the entire screen for programming to just 2/3 with the chat on the other third? Oh, you thought you archived that? You might have. I might have a bug where the archive ones aren't disappearing. Yes, it's a bug. So, if I'm about to answer your question, just remind me to refresh the page. I need to fix that. Type exclamation mark here if you have asked a question. Cool. Yeah, so the Shebas asked this 2 months ago. Can I write a 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon type game using someone techie like Linus or Bill Gates or Steve Jobs? And Oknot now. Thank you very much for that gifted sub. Here's the thing. This sounds complex. It sounds fun, but I need to dedicate an entire stream to it, because I think what we would do is we would potentially crawl Wikipedia, right? I think I might do it. First of all, I just don't know how to get this information, right? Like, how are they related in some way? But if we could say that this person is linked in this Wikipedia article, which is linked in this Wikipedia article, I guess you could call, yeah, GitHub commits could work, but not everyone's on GitHub. I don't know. It's an awesome idea. We're going to do it one day, but not today. Okay. The Shebas, oh, happy birthday. He says, my birthday is on Saturday, 9/12, and you'll be 33. What can I request for a birthday gift? A challenge? Yeah. That's it. Let me know. Well, you can decide. Or, honestly, maybe we'll just do this if you want to. But I hope you have a good birthday, the Shebas. But yeah. DM me. You've been here since the beginning. So, yeah. Cool. Yeah. Just DM me. All right, next question from Awaited. Can you make machine learning to filter inappropriate content for the RGB matrix? This is possible. Yes. Yes, I can. Am I going to do this today? No. But well, we were talking about this in the mod channel. Doc, maybe you can throw your idea up there. Oh, there you are, Lechi. It's just older. Wait. The sorting on this is just broken. Awaited. Thank you for the bits. Too bad. We're on a hype train now. Great. This site is broken. Who made this website? This website is broken. Thank you to Julian for the 50 bits. Okay. Where'd that question go from Awaited? So, the way I'm not going to use machine learning. The way that I am going to do it is you have to be a trusted user to be able to show something on the RGB LED matrix. And what they're referencing is this. We built this the other day. And Leichy, thank you for the bits. We built this the other day where Twitch chat can actually control the color of each individual pixel. But we had some naughty symbols that people did. All I'm going to do is make it either subscriber only or it'll be a channel point redemption. There's no need to bring artificial intelligence and machine learning into this. We could, though. It could be a fun thing. But thank you for asking that, Awaited. All right. If you have asked a question and you hear, type exclamation mark here. And I'm really curious why that happened, Leichy. So, like, yours was there and then it wasn't there? And I guess if you type here, it should pop up. Yeah, there it is. Asked 17 minutes ago. 20. Asked. Okay, that makes sense. It seems like it's working. They're ordered oldest to newest. Seems like it's working. But I'll go ahead and answer this one, which came from Leichy, who says, have I used multiple monitors? I have. So in the early days, like over 5 years ago, and for the 3 or 4 years before that, I had 2 monitors. Oh, you tried. This is the one that you archived. I'm still going to answer it because I feel like I've seen this for a long time. Your question didn't disappear. You just need to type exclamation mark here and it'll pop back up. Or I could actually just write some code and fix this website because it's broken right now. But a lot of people have this question because I actually don't use an external monitor, but I used to. I used to have like a 24-inch monitor, and then I had a monitor that I tilted sideways, like a vertical monitor. And that was really nice for looking at code, or potentially for having like my email off to the side while I'm working on code specifically. But I don't know, I've just gotten used to it. So for one, like when I'm coding, especially on stream, I make the font very, very big because I want people to actually see the code. Let's look at this jQuery for a second. This jQuery code. So I'm just used to looking at it really, really big because I want people that are watching on a TV or watching on a phone I want them to be able to read it. And I've gotten used to seeing code so big. Actually, even when I'm on my own, on my laptop, coding myself, I pretty much code with a font that it's about this size, whereas like that's the default size that most people code at. I code like here-ish. I don't know, I've just gotten used to it. I use keyboard shortcuts, so instead of needing 2 screens with everything fully there, usually I'll code like this when I'm alone, right? I'm not gonna do this when I'm alone. But even so, I still like use Command Tab to like switch between apps and stuff like that. I don't know, but thank you for asking this. I don't know why it's not archiving, Leichy. All right, if you've asked a question, type exclamation mark here, and we'll try to answer it. We'll do this one from Redstone Games real quick. No, I chat in my head, not on the screen. And Usurper, thank you for that comment, who says, you're a smart man. Well, thank you. Is there a similar framework to React Native that uses Vue that is up-to-date that you know of? Yeah, NativeScript.js. NativeScript supports a lot of other front-end frameworks, but specifically they do support Vue. And it has a very similar, it does things in a very similar way to React Native, where you write the JavaScript codes and it actually creates native mobile elements. It's not a hybrid mobile wrapper. You write JavaScript code that creates native UIs. NativeScript. That's probably one of the most up-to-date ones. Vue Native is a thing, but Vue Native is just a wrapper around React Native. So be careful, because at the end of the day, you're using React Native anyways, and so you're going to have to become familiar with the React Native ecosystem and like the Expo CLI and other things like that. So Vue Native is pretty cool on the surface, but it just uses React Native under the hood, so you have to get familiar with that. And thank you, Aknat, for the 10 bits. But I would say NativeScript is probably the way to go. What's that one from? Is it Weeb? Something like that? Am I saying that right? Is it better than Flutter? It's just different. So you get with NativeScript, you get to write JavaScript that creates native UI elements. That actually renders native UI elements. With Flutter, you write Dart code, which gets compiled into native binaries, which actually just draws the UI on a canvas. So it's different. They're all ways of creating cross-platform, so like mobile apps that will run on both Android and iOS. What's that thing I'm talking about? Now, so Ionic is a hybrid mobile wrapper. And we've talked about this before, like there's a difference between being a hybrid mobile wrapper and something that actually compiles into native UI elements. Alibaba. Weeks. I said, what did I say? I said weebs. But Weeks is this has been around for a while, and this allows you to use Vue.js. It's from the people that make Alibaba. Weebs? Weebs? I don't even know what's a weeb. But Weeks is something that you can check out. I haven't used it personally, and I believe it comes from a Chinese development team, so I don't know how the documentation is. But it looks pretty good. This looks like English to me, so I think they've actually come a long way, and you can probably use something like this. And this, let's see, I think this, I actually don't know if this is a hybrid mobile wrapper or if this like compiles to native UI elements. Oh, a weeb is an anime fan. I was confusing it with Wix, I think. Yeah, I'm not aware of that term. I'm not aware of that term. Cool, but Weeks is one you can check out as well. There was a question. Something about something. Vue native. Yeah, we talked about Vue native. Yeah, okay, so this question always just gets asked, and we can talk about it at length, but honestly, I don't feel like talking about it today, so I'm going to point you to a past video where I have answered this question. Just search for Coding Garden mobile development. I feel like I just... Oh, that... I thought it was like, I heard a notification. Let's see. It's going to be in a Q&A at some point. I don't know. It's out there. It's out there. But there's a difference between hybrid mobile and native mobile, and Ionic is a form of hybrid mobile. Ionic actually uses Capacitor, which is the latest and greatest thing that essentially replaces Cordova. But that's a whole different ecosystem compared to something like React Native or NativeScript. Yeah, and then Quasar just uses Cordova. So Quasar is a hybrid mobile thing. Yeah, but NativeScript is not hybrid mobile. Let's keep going. And if you have asked a question, type exclamation mark here, and those questions will bubble up to the top. What are my plans for the week? To work, I guess. I'm gonna stream a couple of times. I don't know. I don't have plans. I don't make plans. I just live. I live in the moment. And what are my views on PWAs? They're pretty cool. I mean, I think if your app requires the features that something like a progressive web app would need, like offline support or like graceful degradation, where it works well on slow connections, it works well on fast connections, that kind of stuff, is great. In terms of should I build a PWA versus a native app, it depends on the kind of app that you're building, but there are a lot of things that can just be done on the web and don't actually need a native app. So PWA, it's cool. All right. Type exclamation mark here in the chat if you're still here. Yeah, mods get bumped up to the top. All right, I'm going to jump past the sub-questions. We're going to answer one non-sub question from the Let's Failer, who says, what do I think about Storybook? I've been using it on a university project, and it definitely makes working with UX designers easier as they can look at all of the components. Yeah, it's great. Let's talk about these things really quick. So Storybook is one that I've used before, but one that I've used on this. So this here is... I have a UI, what is it called? A component library thingy that like generates basically documentation for the components. I forgot what I used for it. But so I actually built this overlay live on stream, and this is the latest incarnation of it. There are older versions of it, but this is the latest version. And the latest version, we actually built it with Vue components. And this page is automatically generated from my Vue.js code, which shows me component examples. So you can see like there's an avatar component. You can have little badges on it. You can change the size. There's a chat card component where you can change the color of the card. You can enable or disable trusted messages, which get run through DOM Purify and stuff like that. There's ways of setting the stuff that goes here, ways that set the stuff that go up here. So I have to remind myself. Oh, Vue Style Guidance. So Style Guidance is the one that I have used before with React instead of Storybook, and then I found Vue Style Guidance. But React Style Guidance is pretty sweet too. But if you're not familiar with these are basically a way of writing and documenting your components that can generate documentation for you. Do I own the now? Oh no, that's from Versal. They used to be called Now. This is broken. This is a broken website. Let's see if we can find an example here on the Storybook website. But yeah, this is great. I highly recommend something like this. You don't necessarily have to use Storybook. There are a few of them out there. But let's see what we can find. And it looks like this. So you write your code, you write your, and they support multiple front-end frameworks. So they support React and Vue and Angular, and Ember and Mithril and Marco and Svelte and Riot, and all of these different front-end libraries are supported. But basically, you write your components, and then you can generate this documentation. And so, like, let's say, yeah, look, they have the avatar component, and they show multiple examples of like a medium, a large. I don't know what's changing or what's different. There's a smaller one. Here's an article title. And this comes from The Guardian, which is a news website, right? So they actually use this style guide and these components on their website. But all of this was generated with code, which is cool. And there are other ones, like I've used React Style Guidance, and I prefer it, mainly because the things get automatically generated from your code and from Markdown. Whereas with Storybook, the code that you have to write is a little more manual, but like with Style Guidance, you can just write your components, you can point Style Guidance at a folder, and it will automatically generate the documentation using like your inline comments, which I like. And yeah, and it uses Markdown too. So you create a component, and then you put a Markdown file with the same name as that component, and then you can just use, let me see if I can zoom in on this, but you can just use the components inside of your Markdown, and it automatically renders them. Yeah. I think Tailwind with a good custom CSS organization is better for small projects. It depends. Like, yeah, so like there's a time and a place to create like component documentation like this. And this specifically is if you are working on a team and other people potentially need to know what are the components that you have in your app and how can they be used. It's also good for like a style guide if you're trying to come up with like brand guidelines. Really just projects that multiple people will be working on. If it's just you, you probably don't need something like this. So yeah, Storybook is great. React Style Guidance I like better, but they're both fine. Just choose which one you want to use more. And this was created with Vue Style Guidance. So React Style Guidance is just for React, but somebody, I don't know if they forked it or if they're somehow are allowing you to use Vue to generate documentation. And let me show you really quick how it was done with Vue Style Guidance, because I do like it, and I will show you that. So if we take a look at, yeah, this is a big old monolith. There's a bunch of stuff in here, but there is a components directory, and these are the reusable components. So if I show you, for example, the avatar component, this is just your standard Vue.js component. It is using TypeScript as well, so that also helps with the documentation. But this is a very simple avatar component. It takes in a size, and it takes in an image URL. And so all of these comments that are here on my props, those automatically get pulled into the documentation. And then if you scroll all the way down, there's a element called docs, which actually is markdown itself. So you just specify your markdown. You can write any valid markdown, and then you add a tag with the language JSX, and then you can actually use the components inside of this tag. So this shows you that this is how I would use this component. This is how I pass a prop down. This is how I would pass multiple props. I show custom sizing, etc. But what's nice is this is all in one file, right? I don't have a separate like configuration file. I basically just write my component like this, and it automatically generates the documentation. So this component file right here actually generates this documentation that you see at the top. So for SK Avatar. And if I click on props, methods, and events, it actually uses those comments to give me a table that shows me all of the props for that specific component. And then you can see the code that I wrote in the markdown, and then you actually see a rendered version of it as well. So I like Style Guidance because it lets you just do it all in line in a single file. And I basically just point Style Guidance at this components folder, and it grabs any of those components and generates the documentation for it. So that's cool. The question was more about Storybook though. Oh, this was asked 2 months ago. But this is a different question. Storybook or React View Style Guides? If I had to choose, I would use Style Guides because things are integrated. I'll show you. I'll try to find a code example really quick for Storybook to show you how you have to set things up there, but it's a little more manual, which some people might prefer. So writing stories. So you define a button and export it. That's great. And then you define stories. So stories themselves are code, which actually renders your component with the right props, which is fine. It's just more code. And what else? There's like a setup file you have to create, which, let's see, writing docs. You find docs pages for the docs? I don't know. This is a lot. Style Guide is a lot easier. You literally just install it and then use it. I don't know. Okay. And thank you all for that hype train. Did I miss any notifications? Because I was missing a few earlier. Turtle Monkey. I think I missed that. Did I miss that? Thank you for that 3-month resub. Twitch Prime resub. Very much appreciated. Thank you everyone for the bits. The Let's Failure says, I don't need how Style Guide works. But Storybook, you have a lot of options in terms of interaction handlers and events, for sure. Yeah, and if you look at a like a Storybook example, whenever you go into the docs themselves, you can fire off events and like click handlers and stuff like that. Let's see if we can find any that have that. Archive is broken? Okay. Well, I could see why it would be broken. I did some things. Score. Yeah, I don't see these here, but usually with Storybook, you have like an area down here that shows you the props, and you can change the props and modify it and stuff like that. I don't know. They're all things. These are things of that type, so you can check those out. What do I think about Storybook? Close that one. Does it go away when I archive it? And Fset, thank you for the 100 bits. Yeah, I think it goes away when I archive it. That's good, I guess. Let's see. Question from someone amazing. Can you look at my PR on the RGB matrix and the pixel art maker to compress the RGB command? I can, but I really want to be answering questions right now. So let's do this. More specifically for this. Actually, I'm not going to, mainly because there's more work that we need to do. But eventually, I will look at your pull request. I appreciate that pull request, but not today. And mainly because, like I mentioned earlier, we're going to be adding code that only allows you to set this if you're a sub, or code that looks at the length of the user account and or potentially only renders it for a channel redemption or something like that. Cool. Okay, if you see question 929, it's supposed to be archived. All right, let's see. Cool. And then 1, 2, 3, 2. Oh, instead. Don't archive that one. That's the one you want me to answer. Any thoughts on visual diff setups? Percy uses Storybook, which kind of stopped me in my tracks. I'm not sure what you mean by visual. Oh, like snapshot testing? I don't know what you mean by that. Once we have a DB involved, we can just give... Yeah, so that's the other thing, is basically, we could allow you to go to a web page, create some sort of design. We're specifically talking about the RGB LED. Let's talk about the RGB LED matrix for a split second, because there is a we have that pixel art maker that we made. So we have this website. We built this on stream. You can go here. You can make some pixel art. This is not art. This is abstract art. But this command that's output out here at the bottom is what you can send in the chat to set this. But what we're going to do eventually is we'll have some sort of mod queue. So we'll make it so that you could draw your thing, click save, that gets sent to the mod queue. The mod can verify that it is a valid pixel art and then allow it to happen. So yeah, there's a lot. If you've asked a question, type !mark here in the chat and we'll look at it. Oh yeah, Alka made one too, for sure. And what's up, Mord? Welcome to the show. Hello, artists. Yeah, I see snapshot testing as a separate thing. What's up, Constave? I need to check my messages from you. I know. Welcome. What's up, Gopher? How's it going? Thon says, "What is HTTP 1 versus HTTP 2?" You got to use this website to ask me this question. You just received a code mug. Nice, or at least I sell a mug with the seedling on it too. Very cool. What's up, Artons? Welcome to the show. All right. 26 minutes ago, Kuzi said, "Have I tried using PureScript before? Any thoughts on it?" I haven't. What is it? A strongly typed functional programming language that compiles to JavaScript. Interesting. My thoughts are cool. I mean, it seems like it would be it'd be similar to TypeScript, but TypeScript is very like object oriented. I mean, it doesn't have to be, but you have classes and stuff like that. And this is functional, which could be interesting. I don't know. I don't know how I feel about preprocessors. I feel like at that point I would just not use a language that compiles to JavaScript. I would use something else. I don't know. It's my only thoughts. Seems cool, but I don't know if I'd try it. What is my favorite request type for Node for interacting with an API? It's usually Axios. We could do like a quick rundown of all the popular ones. Would that be fun coding? Because we haven't written any code yet. We need to write some code. So I can show you node fetch, I can show you Axios, I can show you got, I can show you request, I can show you request promise, I can show you, I don't know, all kinds of things. Yeah, it could be a good YouTube video. Node HTTP requests. We could even try to do it from scratch. I mean, for the most part, there's like the net module, there's the HTTP module. It is possible to do it directly in Node. Show us raw TCP sockets, right? We could do it. It's possible. Redeem wasted. No, I do the redemptions in batches, but Nakoskas, thank you for the hydrate. Cheers. The Time, cheers. Slake, thank you for the stretch. And also for the hydrate, cheers. And a sim. It was not wasted. We're gonna stretch right now. It's kind of 3D. Whoa, whoa. Thank you for that. All right, cheers. All right, see you later, Lechi. Thanks for dropping by. Did I answer your question? I don't know. If today feels weird, does today feel weird to anyone else? This is a very weird day. And Eudaimonia with 1,000 bits. Thank you for the bits. Sorry I didn't answer your question, Lechi. You know what we might need to do is just delete all the questions, and next time we'll start from scratch. Show us how to make a TCP using the datagram package. It sounds sort of interesting. It also sounds like work, but it's possible. You wouldn't still use request and request promise libraries in a new project even though they've been deprecated? We'll talk about that. I'll also talk about I don't use those, so I didn't know that they were deprecated. Today is a weird day. Stiley, thank you for the follow. Donye, thanks for following. What's up, Milan? Thank you for the follow. Iridescent Lemon, thank you for following. Tommy Clash, thank you for the follow. Dat's Sour, thanks for being here. Taniel, thank you. Luke Chakas, thank you very much. Al Hassan, thank you. Vito CR, thank you. And Stanley Mole, thank you. And Mick, thank you all for those follows. All right. Is it you, Bill Gates? What's up, Snoops? Boga, hey, welcome to the show. All right, we're gonna write some code. We're basically going to make an HTTP request with multiple different things, and at the end of the day, it's all the same. It's all the same. Just choose which one works the best for you. Like even like request and request promise, even though they're deprecated, like. What's bad is they potentially won't get security updates, but they're just making HTTP requests. Like, what could change about that? It's a standard that has existed for a while. Okay, let's create a README right quick. HTTP requests in Node.js. All right, so what I prefer to use is Axios. Again, like this is older, hasn't been updated in a while, but it has a really nice API. They have error handling that they do for you. And they attach, they automatically look at the response type header and automatically parse the body based on the response type header, or the content type header. So Axios, it does all the things that you would need it to do. There's also Fetch. And to use it in Node.js, you would need to use Node Fetch or... there are a few other ones. So I'm going to build up this list and then we're going to write some code. But if you just search for fetch on NPM, you can see some implementations. There's this one, the WhatWG fetch. So this is actually a polyfill, but it also works in Node.js. And hello, Anasin from Germania. Welcome, welcome. There's that. Well, there's HTTP 2. So there's that. But yeah, it's drop-in replacements. It's fine. HTTP 3 runs on UDP. Okay, there's Fetch, Node Fetch. What are some other ones? Isomorphic Fetch. It's probably what you would want to use. So there's Isomorphic Fetch, which uses that under the hood. I think those are the main ones. And what's nice about Fetch is that it mirrors or mimics the API that's built into the web browser. So if you check out can I use and you search for Fetch, Fetch is, it's not in IE, but it is in pretty much every modern web browser has this thing called Fetch inside of it. And it has a really nice API. You can just do Fetch, pass in a URL, it just works. However, it doesn't have built-in error handling. It doesn't have automatic response parsing. You have to do a lot of things manually with Fetch. But what's nice is because it works in the browser, and if you're a front-end developer, you'll get used to that API. And then in Node, you could use one of these, and it has the exact same API in Node.js. So that's one of the nice things about it, is it works in both places. However, like I mentioned, it doesn't have error handling. You have to look at the response headers to decide how you want to parse that response, if that's something that you want to do. Yeah, I don't know, like, XML HTTP request probably isn't deprecated. It's just that Fetch is a whole lot easier to use, but like XML HTTP requests will never go away because there are so many websites that are still using it and depending on it. Cool. Another one you could use is Jquery Ajax. And this is that $.get thing, or that $.post thing. Nelky Dev, how's it going? Just use gRPC. That doesn't work in the web browser. The web browser needs to make HTTP requests. Okay. Fetch is good for textual content. Axios argument, arguably better for JSON retrieval. Yeah, it really depends. Well, it's multiple. So there's $.Ajax, but you can do $.get, $.post, $.put. All of these exist. Wait, how do you use jQuery in Node? Oh, you don't. Never mind. We're in Node. I was going to talk about different things. All right, what are some other ones? Can people just list them in the chat? What are some HTTP libraries that you use? There's got, there's request. What else? Do you think there's potential in getting swaths of experienced software devs to volunteer programming tutoring time? For money? What are you talking about? Are you coming up with a business idea? Oh yeah, like the core HTTP module. What else? Like, you say Kappa doc, but I'm not opposed to it. Because Node.js allows you to execute system commands. So yeah, why not? R2? I haven't heard of that one. For free, like a nonprofit organization, engineers seem to want to do some mentorship sometimes. Oh, sure. Yeah. Personally, I wouldn't do it. But hey, a light year away. Thank you for that resub. Who says hello? But I'm sure you would, like, there are devs that want to practice mentorship. Maybe they don't have opportunities to do it at work, so they might do something like that. I probably wouldn't, though. I have this. I do this. All right, what else? Request. Is it requests or request promise? No, so requests or requests? The net module. Cool. And I don't know what DDNet is. Okay, super agent? Requests? Is it requests or requests? I know Alka has used this before. Can you help me out? What's Bent? I've never heard of Bent. Functional HTTP client with Async Await. It's request, but it's deprecated. Does that mean I can't go to get to the package? Should still be here. Yeah, this package has been deprecated. Take a look at the issue. This is my break timer. Let's take a quick stretch. Okay. Super agent. Yeah, I think super agent is used under the hood inside of supertest. Request was one of the first modules added to the NPM registry. Cool. Modern JavaScript. Maintenance mode. Do they have a recommendation as to how you should replace it? I mean, Bent has 70,000 weekly downloads. Like, has anybody else in the chat used Bent? I've never heard of Bent, but I could potentially talk about it. Yeah, do we have Got? We'll talk about Got. I only heard of Bent right now. Yeah, me too. A small progressive client-side HTTP request library. No, this is super agent. Right? This has 3.8 million weekly downloads. Get Bent? Yeah. That's funny. Let's look at this. So does this potentially... I was looking at... So in issue number 3143, let's look at that. Yeah, super agent is like chained. So you say like post, send, set specific headers, and then you get back the response. The thing is, super agent is used inside of supertest. It's a way of testing like Express APIs, but it looks like you could just use it directly. I'm going to mention it. Yeah, so Function Driver says they use super agent. I'm going to mention it because it's it is used inside of Supertest. Which is the fastest? Doesn't matter. They're all relative. It's the same. Doesn't matter. Okay. Here we go. Alternative libraries to request. Node fetch. Can't believe they put bent at the top. I've literally never heard of it, but it's only a kilobyte, so that's cool. Got make fetch happen. Axios unfetch super agent. Needle URL lib. Cool. We're about to start. We're going to show multiple different ways to make the same HTTP requests. Note dependencies. Oh, or like fastest installs. Sure, we could do that. Welcome, Anacodes. Welcome to the show. I guess we'll show Bent. I've literally never used Bent before. Manually copy paste into Postman. So there's that. All right, what API are we going to call? We could call the Twitch API, but we're going to need like a client ID at least. And I'll call the V5 API. Like I don't want to. We don't want to do any like OAuth flow or anything like that. Import a file. What do you mean by that? This could turn into one of those videos you're shocked gets so popular. I think this gets asked more times than we think. Yeah. No, for sure. And especially people that are just new to all of this. I mean, the answer is just use Axios or like just pick one and use it. Because at the end of the day, they're all doing exactly the same thing. Gonna do Chuck Norris jokes. We're gonna do the Twitch API. What information do we want from the Twitch API? Let's get just my channel information. Get channel by ID. Content. And I'm gonna use Insomnia really quick to make sure that this request works, and then we're gonna write code to make the request. Get the channel title. Content. All right, let's see really quick. Gotta get that info. Yeah, it's a GET request. It's literally a GET request. Insomnia is a tool for making HTTP requests. So I'll show you really quick. And then we can do it. Nice. Like Postman, but it's Postman, but different. Doesn't that download the whole... Wait, what did Doc say? What's up, SPD? Welcome to the show. Oh, if you try to import an API endpoint, it'll... I thought Insomnia was Electron-based. You can't use Insomnia on... I think I do want... I want to at least show that we need a client ID, because I can show how to set headers, too. Cool. And specifically with the Kraken endpoints, we have to set 2 headers. Okay, so I'll show you all this. So this is the Twitch documentation. It says you need to make a GET request to this URL, and we need to specify the accept header because we are using the V5 API. So I need this right here. And so this is a tool called Insomnia. It allows you to create HTTP requests. I am not married. What's up, Monish? So we need to specify header. So I have my client ID here to call the Twitch API, and then I need the accept header. And you specifically need this when you're calling the Kraken V5 API. So if I do that, we get back the response. So this gives me back information about this very channel that you're watching right now. We have the status, we have the name, created, logo, all that good stuff. And so this is going to be good enough. And this, basically, we're going to replicate this with code. We're going to write node.js JavaScript code that makes this HTTP request and does something with it. That's the plan. And yeah, I like to use Postman. This is a tool for like prototyping requests. You can see, you can put the URL of the API as a dependency in your package.json. Wait, what? What are you talking about, Doc? What are you talking about? Okay, and one thing you'll see, and you probably see this a lot in API documentation, is they give you an example of a curl request. And technically, this will work too. So curl is just a Linux command that actually makes HTTP requests from your console. And honestly, maybe we'll start there. So let's put this curl command in, and I need to make sure that I use the same client ID. Oh, silly ways of making HTTP requests. I see. Well, thank you, Monish. Thank you for that comment. Yeah. Cool. So that's great. Awesome. What else do I want to do? I want to update my working on command. Yeah, wget is another command, but curl is usually included by default. And wget needs to be installed from like a package manager, I believe. Somebody can correct me if I'm wrong on that. Oh, thank you, Pranjal, who says, belated Happy Teacher's Day. HTTP. I've heard of HTTP. We'll look at that. We'll look that one up. Cool. So right now, I am correct. Well, thank you, Constave. Right now, we are answering the question. Does anybody remember who answered this question? I don't have a way of pinning the questions right now. We need to add that. Was this it? Yeah, Eudaimonia asked this question. That's what we're going to use. For aliases, you need, you can put them in your bash RC or your bash profile or your zish RC. Basically, the aliases need to be loaded every time a new terminal session starts up. So right now, what we're about to do, if you're just joining us, is we are answering this question that came from Eudaimonia that says, what is your favorite requests type library for Node? That is your go-to for interacting with an API. So what we're going to do is we are going to show an example with all of these different libraries to show you that it doesn't matter. Just pick one. It doesn't matter. But we'll also show you just like how they work differently. At the end of the day, they just make HTTP requests. That's it. I just do that. Yeah. Show an example with all of these here. Great. Yeah, Postman makes HTTP requests. I demonstrated using Insomnia, but both Postman and Insomnia do the same thing. And at the this is as, I guess, simple as you could get it. We're basically translating this into code, right? That's what we're doing in a way. Curl is a command for making HTTP requests. Have I ever gave an interview and gotten rejected? I've gotten, yeah, I have. One time. There was one place that I applied to and just never got a call back, and then one place where I did an on-site interview, but then I got a rejection. And before Postman creates their own HTTP library. I don't think it's necessary. Okay, is this all I want to add right here? I think it is. This is fine. Yes, I like Axios. Okay. Oh yeah, I forgot. I was gonna look up HTTP, and then we'll start writing some code. HTTP. Yeah, it's easy to use, but if you want the same level of I don't know how words. If you want the same things to happen that would happen with Axios, you actually have to write a lot more code with just node fetch. And if you don't write that code, then yeah. Hey, no drama here. No drama. I appreciate you being here, but it's we're here to talk about the thing that we're talking about right now. Can we have multiple JSON web token strategies for Passport in a single application? Sure, why not? I don't know. But we're talking about this. HTTP has 2.2 thousand weekly downloads. we're not going to talk about it. We have our list. Let's go. And I guess we'll turn this into YouTube content. It's probably going to be, this is likely going to take us like an hour and a half, but that's okay. Let's get into it. Yes, content. We're going to do content. Do I have any? Let's acknowledge these follows and then we'll get into the content. Propsco, thank you for that follow. Crofter, thanks for being here. What's up, Nessanon? Thank you for the follow. Ben, thank you for following. Sar, thank you for following. Bakcho, thank you. And Pachi. And ASDFJKL semicolon, thank you for the follow. Alex is on fire, much appreciated. Or Alexis on fire. Depends. Ilgeek, thanks for the follow. Yash and Manish, thank you all for the follows. Okay. I'm a newborn in the world of web dev. Didn't know fetch requests enables single page applications. For me, I'm using Express and EJS. Yeah, so you're doing the server side rendering thing, but you could potentially build a single page application for it. Now I don't have to deal with a lot of unsatisfying loading pages. Yeah, Hackerman. Okay, let's get into it right now. Are you ready? Hello, friends. Welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. We received a question from, who was it? This is a great start to a video, by the way. Why is this loading so slow? Here we go. A question that came from Eudaimonia. Thank you very much, Eudaimonia, for this question, who says, what is your favorite request type library for Node? That is, what is your go-to for interacting with an API? And so there are a few of them. There are quite a few of them. And I'll say the one that I prefer is Axios. I'll talk about why. Mainly because everything is included. I'll show that if you were to use something like node fetch, you actually have to do a lot more work to get it to behave the same way as Axios. A few other popular ones are like Got, Super Agent. Requests is now deprecated, but I could still show an example with that. Try and stop me. And what we're going to show is just a request to the Twitch API. So we're going to make a request to Twitch to get information about this very channel, the Coding Garden. And we're going to replicate this request in all of these different libraries. And maybe we'll get here where we don't use a library at all. We just use the core modules built into Node.js and attempt to make an HTTP request that way. I have never done this, so I don't know what's involved, but we'll figure it out. But ultimately, what we want to replicate is this very request right here. And if you're not familiar with curl, curl is just a Linux command for making HTTP requests. So Hypertext Transfer Protocol requests. Yeah, so we're making requests to things. In this case, we're making a request to the Twitch API, but you could very easily make requests to other HTTP related things. Wait, is this it? No, this is not it. How do curl should be on here, right? Curl and programming. Here we go, an application library for transferring data with URLs. Cool. So, curl is a Linux program that you can run. You pass in some arguments and it will make HTTP requests. And so pretty often when you're perusing API documentation, you might see that they have this curl thing here. Really all that is it's the HTTP, it's an example of the HTTP request that needs to be made in its purest form, so to speak, right? Like, this isn't JavaScript code. What this says is run the curl command, specify this header, and then make a GET request to this URL. So that's usually why you see curl in like API documentation, is because it's a way of running this HTTP request directly on Linux. So if I just paste this command in here, boom, we get back a response. Wait, what? Who is this? Do I have the wrong ID? Oh, I didn't change the ID. I was like, who is this? This is Dauntless. This is Dauntless. This is not me. I was expecting I was going to get back my response because I was testing this earlier, but this is my ID. I was like, did I get hacked? I'm not streaming that. No, but you can literally see that the demonstration ID was there, but if I put my ID on there, then I'll be able to get back the information about this. Here we go. So this is the HTTP response for the request to Twitch with my ID. There's a lot of stuff going on here, but basically it's a JSON response, a JSON object. Yeah, I was like, my channel is not mature. Did the mods change my status? What's happening? LBG is saying curl is both a C library, which also has bindings for other languages, and a CLI tool. Cool, yeah, so you could use curl directly in your C program, or you could use it from the command line like this. Awesome, so this is the HTTP request that we want to make. We want to make a GET request to this URL. We want to specify these two headers, and then we want to potentially do something with that response. So what I'm going to show really quick is an example of that with all of these different libraries. Let's go ahead and do it with Axios. So let me just get this all set up. Create a source directory. We're going to init this. Yeah, I'll show the copy with fetch, but there's not really anything that we want to, any requests that we want to copy. Yeah. Can you use curl calls like that in Python as well? Well, I would say Python likely has libraries like this. And I guess I'm not showing it here, but it's very likely that there actually is a curl wrapper for Node.js. Client URL library, high-level request functions. Node libcurl, the fastest HTTP, where am I? Fastest HTTP client for Node, Node.js bindings for libcurl. Yeah, so basically, you need to make an HTTP request. How you do that is just with codes. So in Node.js, all of these libraries have been written to allow us to do that. Under the hood, they just use these core modules, but that's it. Okay, so let me install Axios, npm I Axios. That's just going to download and install. Look, that was a really fast download. That's one nice thing. You don't have to wait very long. You can see that Axios is now listed in my project dependencies, and then I can just use it. So we're going to create an index.js file. I need to bring in Axios. And then Axios is really nice. You just say axios.get and pass in the URL that you want. And if you want to specify any headers, your options go as an object as a second parameter. And you can specify the headers here. And we want to specify the accept header is that Kraken API thing. And then we also want to specify our client ID, which goes here. Wow. Yeah, I've used PnPm before. I've just ran into issues when trying to install dependencies for a Vue.js CLI generated project. Hey, Gray Alliances, thank you for that subscription. Much appreciated. Okay, so this is great. I'm going to put the URL in a variable, and we're just going to reuse this for all the different cases. And so the URL that we want to make the request against. So basically, right? So I mentioned like this is the HTTP request. In a sense, in its purest form, like this is what we want to do. We want to make a GET request here, and we want to specify these two headers. So the way we do that with Axios in the codes is by specifying an object. So to specify the headers, we have an object with an accept header, and the value is going to be what we want for that header. Obahas, thank you for that Twitch Prime sub as well. And then very similarly, the client ID is going to have that value there. And then the URL we want to make the request against is this. So I'm going to take that. And that goes in this variable, and this should just work. This Axios is a promise-based library, so if I want to get the response, I can just do .then on it. But I'm gonna use Async Await. So let's make an async function. Get with Axios. So it does that, but this returns a promise, so we can await it, like so. And then afterwards, we have access to the response, and I'll just log it out. And this has everything. This has the response headers, all the body, all of that good stuff. But what's nice about this is if this HTTP request does not respond with a successful status code, Axios will throw an error. So I can wrap this in a try catch. And if there is an error, I can do something with it. So that's nice. But what's also nice about this is even if there is an error, Axios will look at the response headers and parse that. And so we could get the error response in our code as well. So I could, it's usually on error.response. So if there's an error code, it's still in it, but it still has a JSON body. This will still parse it, and I can still have access to it. Okay. Yeah, let's put these in variables. I like, yeah, so people are mentioning things. I forgot the function keyword. You're right. Async function. But yeah, let's put these other things in variables because we're gonna reuse them. Like literally in every single HTTP request we make. So we're gonna put the client ID in a variable like that. And hello, Javas. Welcome to the show. We're gonna put the accept header in a variable because it's gonna be the same no matter what. Just like that. Okay, so with Axios, we say axios.get. We pass in the URL. We can specify our headers here, and then we should see the response. So let's see it happen. So if I run this, nothing happens because I didn't invoke my function. So I need to actually invoke get with Axios right here. All right, here we go. Boom. We got back the response. You can see that response.data is the actual object itself. You can see that we get a bunch of other things on here, including like the actual socket that made the request. You can see all of the response headers that got specified here. So you have access to all of this stuff. So you could do response.status to look at the status code. Typically, I only care about the data itself. So usually I just destructure the data and then we have access to the data directly like that. And so now it'll just log the data. It doesn't log all that extra stuff. Yeah. Yeah. So exactly like CDocs is saying. So, response, I mean, we're here to talk about HTTP requests, not destructuring. But if you're new to this syntax, basically what I just did was allowed me to do response.data, right? Because response.data is the actual data itself, but we can use destructuring to pluck off that data property and put it in a variable called data, and then we can use it right here. So it's great. Awesome. Now let's make it fail. Let's change this to a not found URL. I am not a freelancer. No, I work as a software consultant. All right. I'm going to put in an ID that I hope doesn't exist, and let's see what happens. So we're going to make the actually we'll take in an error variable. And so if error is true, we're going to try to go to the not found URL. Otherwise, we'll go to the real URL, and then we're going to call this with true. And so now it's going to try to hit a not found URL. Let's see what happens. So you can see that we actually got back an error. This went into the catch, right? We could do something with the error. So you can see that, where are we? Right here. So right here is where we're logging the error itself. So this is line 10. We're logging the error. And we see the error.message, like request failed with status 400. And then after that, we see all of the internal error properties, which include the response and different things like that. So technically I could just log error.message. And then we can look at error.response, but just like response up here has a data property on it, error.response.data also has a property on it, which is just the JSON response that we got back. So we can look at the actual error message and we can look at the JSON data there. So this is really nice. This is why I use Axios. It does all of the error handling for you. It does all of the parsing for you. One thing to note is that both of these endpoints, the URL endpoint and the URL not found endpoint, are sending back a content type header of application/JSON. So and actually, let's look at that. So if we look at, I think, do we have access to headers? Let's see. So here we should be able to look error.response.headers. Yeah. And so you can see that the content type is application/JSON. So the Twitch API responded with this as a string, and in the response header, it specified the content type as application/JSON, and Axios saw that, and it's like, oh, you got JSON? I'm going to parse it for you, which is why we can actually access the data directly here as JSON, because behind the scenes, this parses it. And so that's really nice that, so for instance, let's actually call an API that's not going to give us back JSON, and it'll just give us back the text. Actually, let's just literally request the Twitch homepage. Twitch homepage URL, which is just https://twitch.tv. So we should get back like an HTML response here. Hopefully, we'll see. Let's also pass in a URL here too. Override URL. Just pass in the URL only? Yeah, that makes sense. Let's just do that. Because that way I can pass in the any URL I want down below to show the example. Okay, cool. So we just pass in the URL. Here I'm going to pass in the Twitch homepage URL. Now, I didn't have to do anything else, right? The code stays exactly the same, but now data is likely just going to be text. It's not JSON, so it's not parsed into an object. It's just going to be the literal HTML text. Boom! Look at that. So it's HTML. But Axios looked at that specific content type header and saw that, oh, the content type in this scenario is text/HTML, so it's just going to parse it as text. So that's one thing I really like about Axios, because with other libraries, you have to potentially do that yourself. Okay, so that's Axios. Great work, everyone. Let's move on to some other library. And actually, any questions? What questions do you have about Axios? Or is there anything that you potentially want to see with Axios? Great work. Oh, thank you. Yeah, and so if we curl twitch.tv, we're gonna get the same. We're gonna get the same response. Well, is it? How do I do it? How do I make a GET request? How's this work? This is basically what you do in every JS request with Axios. Yep, absolutely. So wrap it in a try catch, because the API could potentially throw an error. Pull out the data, because that's the response that you need. You can pull out the headers if you need them, and then you just use it. This is pretty much how you use it. And so there are other methods built in, so you can do axios.post or axios.put, etc. Whatever HTTP verb you want. Try using an arrow function. There's no need here. No need. Smooth. Git is the default. It probably redirect. Oh, okay. So yeah, does anybody know the curl command, the curl flag, or the option to follow redirects? How do I follow redirects with curl? -L. Hey, look at that. Good work, everyone. Hey, Johiro with the 3-month resub, who says, coding hi, oh hey. Welcome. Thank you so much. Can you show how you'd make an Axios instance with your own config? Sure. Yeah. And obviously, if you're using Axios for the first time, check out the docs. If you look at them on NPM, it should link to the docs. Installing examples. Great. Documentation. I guess not. We can go to the GitHub to see if it's listed there. Yeah, so creating an instance. So what I'm doing, and actually, for the most part, this is actually how I prefer to use it. I just use Axios directly, and then I pass in the URL that I need to call. That's it. However, they do have some other niceties where you can create an instance and specify a base URL. And that way, if you're calling multiple endpoints for the same API, you can just reuse that instance, and you can specify some common headers as well. So this is another nice thing that you can do. I'm not going to get into this because there'll just be so much more codes, but basically this is nice, right? Like if you have some defaults that you want to specify for every HTTP request that you're making, you can do that with here. It is nice. Yeah. So like you could specify, like Robin is saying, you could specify a token header that gets applied to every request, like the client ID, that kind of thing. Doc says, it's possible to make an HTTP request that returns JSON using ES6 imports in Node, but it requires some command line flags. Interesting. So you can specify an import that is JSON? Is that what you're saying? Are you able to handle sessions and cookies with Axios? I was only able to do so using Super Agent when I was making calls with the page behind login. So we're specifically talking about making requests inside of Node.js. I have not, in my Node.js code, needed to make a request, parse the response cookies, save that cookie, and then reuse it. And I don't know of any libraries that do that automatically. In the web browser, that would just happen on behalf of the browser. Like if you're using Axios inside of the web browser, those APIs and endpoints that you're hitting are potentially setting cookies. And then the browser just handles sending those in requests. So I'm not sure what you mean by that. With Axios and in Node, it's just code. So if you make an authorization request, you get back a token, you store that token in a variable, and then you reuse that variable in your subsequent requests. There's nothing automatic really about it. Yeah, there are interceptors as well. Yeah, I don't want to get into all the specifics. I just want to show this is how you do it. This is it. This is how you do it. Yeah. Await import. Will that actually work, Doc? Will that work in Node.js, or you're saying that works in Dino? Yeah. Yeah, that's not my age, Monish, but if you look at the frequently asked questions, you'll see that you're not supposed to discuss my age in the chat, or you're timed out, so don't do that. Okay. All right, that's Axios. Let's keep moving. So the next one is Fetch. So I already mentioned it, but Fetch is built into the web browser. It is a new web standard, and it makes things really easy. You can check it out on MDN as well. This is how you do it. The Fetch API. And it's really, so if you have written web apps, you are probably familiar with XML HTTP request. And so this is how we used to do it. And it's very cumbersome, and it's like a callback based API. It's not ideal. Fetch is the new hotness, and it's really easy. You literally just say fetch, you pass in a URL, and it just works. Let's see if we can, using fetch. Look at that. Fetch, pass in a URL, you get back the response. Like I mentioned, you're going to need to parse that response manually. So in this case, we know that we're getting back JSON, so we say response.json. But let's say you don't know, like let's say the error response, for whatever reason, doesn't respond with JSON, you would need to handle that as well. But parse the response, and then you get access to it right there. And Apukantilde with the 2-month resub says, "You are awesome." And I probably butchered your name. Apukon tilde. Apu contilde. Thank you. Thank you very much. Cool. Apukon tilde? I said it perfectly. Cool. All right. So, yes, Fetch is great. This is how you could make a GET request in client-side JavaScript code. And what's nice is, like, let's say you learn how to do it on the client side and you want to do the same thing in Node.js. These libraries, Node Fetch, Isomorphic Fetch, WhatWG Fetch, all of these are going to allow you to use Fetch inside of Node.js. And Wizwazi, thank you for the 100 bits. Because Fetch is not built into Node.js, but people have essentially just implemented the same API inside of Node. So I'm going to show with Node Fetch because I've used that one before. Node Fetch right here. So a lightweight module that brings window.fetch into Node.js. So they essentially had to implement it from scratch using like the HTTP and net modules, but it has the exact same API as the web browser. So if you know how to use it in one place, you can use it in both. So I'm going to install it as a dependency. Mind-blowing. That was also a very fast install. And then we're going to do it. Do I want to put it all in the same file? No. Let's put them in separate files. This is Axios. Let's create a environment file that just exports these 3 variables. Actually, all of them. All of these variables it exports. Ooh. Yeah, something like this. Module.exports equals all of that. And then we'll just use it from there. Right? Right? Does that make sense? And then we can just bring it into this file. So all of that equals require the environment file. Cool. And I guess we're not using those variables. Technically, we'll just put those there. All right, great. Now what we can do is create a separate file for fetch that pulls in these variables and basically does the same exact thing. So here we go. We're going to create a file called fetch.js. Hopefully that works. That was too fast. Yeah, it's because it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We want to get to the actual codes. So in this file, I'm going to bring in fetch, and that comes from a library called node.fetch. Right. Now, we need a function. Function get with fetch. Here we go. Now, let's just start off with the basics. We want to make a request to that specific URL. We're going to get back the response. Fetch exposes a promise-based API as well, so we're going to await it. We want to make a request to that specific URL, and then we specify our options, very similar to Axios. Here we're going to specify our headers that have the accept header, and then have the client ID header. Just like that. And that should be it. So this, and by default, it makes a GET request. And MBB, thank you very much for that 2-month resub. Coding Hio. Coding seems good. Much appreciated. Cool. If you want to change the HTTP verb, you can say method. And here you could specify post, you could specify put, delete, etc. In our case, the method is get by default. So I actually can just leave that off. Optional if get. Cool. And this does it. So this is going to call the API. We're going to get back the response. In this scenario, oh, and thank you all for that hype train. Very much appreciated. Where are we at? Oh, it's still happening. It's still happening. Thank you. Okay, so we get back the response, and then we need to parse the response body. And so let's call it data, just like we did in, well, like it's called by default in Axios. But this response object has a few different methods built into it. So you have JSON, which allows you to parse the response as JSON. There's also text, which parses the response as text. I believe there's also blob, which will give you like a file blob. And there's a couple others. But in this scenario, we know that we're getting back JSON data, so we're going to actually parse it as JSON. And then we should be able to look at the response. And we are going to pass in the URL here, like that. Okay, what's a blob? You could use it for like images or files, different things like that. Cool. So now, by default, we're going to make a request to the channel URL. So if we've done this correctly, this is going to allow us to use fetch. Right? See, we're using fetch. We're not using Axios to make the API request and get back the JSON response. So we'll do node source fetch. Here we go. There it is. It works beautifully. On the surface, this looks simpler, right? Because we need to try catch it. And see Gaussian, thank you very much for that 2-month resub. So that's nice, right? But if you compare it to Axios, in the Axios version, we were doing the try catch. So we at least want to get that going with fetch. So let's try it. So let's do a try catch. All of our code goes in the try. And Oknot now, you're flying with the keyboard. I'm so jealous. So thank you, Oknot. I'm just trying to get this done so we can answer more questions. But yeah. You're using await since it will take a while to get a response. That's a good way to think about it. But the reason I'm using await is because this function returns a promise, which is for scenarios exactly like this. Like this code does a thing that needs to go through the tubes of the internet. It's not instantly done, right? We don't instantly get the data back from Twitch. We have to make the HTTP request, wait for the HTTP response, and then do something with it. So this returns a promise that resolves when that HTTP request is complete, and it resolves to the HTTP response. But yeah, that's what async await are for. I could get into showing you .then, but then when we get into like promises and stuff like that. But yes, async await, you use them with promises, so you need to know about promises. Yeah, so now we need to do try catch with the fetch. So I try it, we'll catch it. I'm gonna log the exact same things over here to see what we get. So we should be able to see error.message where this response property is not going to exist because it doesn't do it automatically. So actually, I'm just gonna log the error itself. What I'm also gonna do, just to be clear, is say an error happened. And Milos, thank you very much for that subscription. Yeah, but then we get into promises, and we don't have time for. I mean, we have time. We have time. But it's already 10. It's already 10. I've been live for 2 hours, I guess. Yeah, so we need to check the error, but what I'm going to show you is that this may not behave as you would expect. So we're going to attempt to call this not found URL. Here, like this. Okay, so this is going to call the one that that actually returns a 404 status code. So it is technically an error, but watch what happens. It does not go into our error handlers, right? So basically, right here, we actually need to look at the response to look at the status code to decide if we should throw an error. So with fetch, you have to manually look at the status codes. So even though it's a 404, technically the code didn't break, so our error handler did not get run. Now, the only reason that this code here would throw an error is if we attempted to make a request against something that it couldn't connect to. So like if we try to make a request to like this will go into the error handler. An error happened. Type error. Only absolute URLs are supported. https://.com. Not found. Get address info. So it tried to look up the domain and then it failed there. So by default, the only reason this will actually throw an error itself is if you attempt to make a request to a domain that can't be resolved, or it can't connect to a URL or something like that. Yeah. Okay. Great. So how do we get this to behave like Axios does? We actually have to look at the response. So we have to say if response.ok, and response.ok is a boolean, then we know that we got back JSON data, and we're all good here. And if we wanted it to behave in the same way, like technically we would need to still parse the response body, but we would throw an error so that that way the caller of the code gets the error itself. And what's tricky about this is some APIs, I mean they're bad APIs, I'll just say it, they're bad if they do this, but some APIs may not respond with JSON data all the time for whatever reason. Like if you don't specify an accept header, it'll give you back text or something like that. Or even though the success handler gives you back JSON, the error response gives you back just a text or something like that, right? That's a boolean. Has anyone experienced an API like that, where the error responses are not in the same format as the success responsives? I do that. Yeah, don't do that. Or there could be an offset, or basically you can't depend on them both being the same, right? Anybody? Can you just raise your hand if you've experienced that from a bad service? Yeah. But in this scenario, because we know this API returns JSON data, just don't do that. Just be consistent. And technically, you should be if you wanted to make a really nice API, your API could look at the accept header and then do content negotiation and send back the right type of response depending on what the client requested. Or you could build something that only responds with JSON. In this case, the Twitch API only responds with JSON, so it's actually okay to parse it as JSON before I look at if the response is okay. Because what I can do is parse it. Now it's reusable, and if it's not okay, I could do something like this. I could create an error, and then if we look, what did that error response look like? So, I believe this would actually be response.status text, something like that, and then I could say error.response is equal to data. No. Yeah, error.response is equal to response, and then something like that, and then I could throw this error. Error. What if I get a Cloudflare error? Well, that's the thing to think about, because Cloudflare will likely respond with HTML rather than JSON. So you would want to look at the response headers to decide how you should parse it. Some people just quietly added to do to their server-side API. But let's be honest, if you're returning JSON, always return an object, no strings, int arrays, object always. Yeah, so a nice API will always respond with the same type of thing. Okay, so now if response is not okay, we're going to create an error, throw that error, and it should fall into the catch now. So let's try it. An error happened. Oh yeah, because I'm calling that. However, now I actually can just respond. I can log error.response, and we should get all of the information included. Undefined. Oh, never mind. You're not going to have a response if it can't actually get a response. But in this scenario, it can get a response. So there we go. So we have the response object. We actually have the error that has it attached. And I believe... Oh, no, I want to attach the data too. Error response data is equal to data. Something like this. And then it has the actual data property. Return JSON if there's an error, return XML. Nice, Isbri, thank you for being here. Shout out. Coatings, gardens, all that good stuff. So there are other ways of doing this, but this is the main thing that, and the main reason why I don't like to use fetch directly is because you have to do a lot of this handling yourself, and then you need to get into, like, this just assumes that this API always responds with JSON, which is fine. But if it doesn't, then you need some sort of content type negotiation. Like, you need to look at the response headers. So if we look at response, so that you could say, like, the content type is equal to response dot headers dot get content type. Let's see if we actually get back the content type header. Mosquitoes might go to my shirt, my chest. All right, and then let's not log this error stuff for now. I just want to see the content type. Cool. The content type here is application JSON. So what I should do in my fetch code is like so. If you type exclamation mark working on, you'll get more info on what I'm working on. Yeah, thank you. You got it. Files? Did I say files? What am I talking about? Okay, so so if we wanted to do it the same way that Axios is doing under the hood, then we could say this. So we'll say if content type dot contains includes. I always forget. Yeah, contains application JSON. And then, like, let's say we have a data variable, and we'll do this, and then here we'll say that data is equal to that. And then else, if it doesn't equal that, then it probably has text HTML. Or we could just default to text. So if they don't specify the content type header, then we're just going to assume that they're giving us back text. Like that. And then we have the data, regardless of if it was an error or not. And so now we should at least be able to log the data. Cannot read property data of undefined. What? What? No, absolutely. This is why I'm writing it this way, because if you wanted to do it right, you need to have some sort of like media type parser, which Axios does and Fetch doesn't. What's happening here? Where's my error? Oh, contains is not a function. Because it includes, I believe, right? Yeah, here we go. So basically what we did there is we looked at the content type header, and it says it's application JSON, and that means we parse it as JSON. But if it wasn't, then we're just assuming that it's text. Basically, there's more we need to do, and there are better ways to do this. The other issue is, like, what if there is no content type header? I've dealt with APIs that don't have a content type header. And then you just have to try to parse it as JSON. And if the JSON parse works, then you use it. But if it doesn't work, then you turn it into text. Basically, there's a lot that needs to happen here, right? That is not built in. We need to figure out what is the content type. We need to figure out, was it okay? If it was okay, you're good to go. If it wasn't okay, we need to create some sort of error object. This is why I don't use Fetch directly. Content type, good luck. Yeah. And so I've using Fetch before, I've literally written a handler that just tries, no matter what, to parse it as JSON. But if that fails, then it tries to parse it as text. However, there's another issue. Like, you can't just put this in a try catch and then try to parse it again. You need to actually clone the response, because after you've already tried to parse it as JSON, you can't immediately parse it as text. Again, you'll get an error. This is why I prefer to use something like Axios. There's a lot of hidden things going on, right here, right? We're just saying Axios handles all of that. Axios does the content type negotiation. It does the error handling. It looks at status codes, all of that good stuff. Redaxios, but uses Fetch under the hood. Oh, and so one thing I didn't mention earlier is with Axios, you can specify the transport. You can specify what should Axios use to make its request, because by default I think it just uses XML HTTP request. There's a thing for it. Yep, I use Axios on the front end too, because of all of these same reasons. But it is possible to tell Axios to use Fetch under the hood. Axios Fetch. I think it's called a transport. Is it? Does anybody know how to do it? WP Fetch transport. Yep. What's the difference between null and undefined? That is an interview question. That's what that is. What? Does anybody? Axios use Fetch under the hood. Modern Fetch-based Axios. So what was the... Was it Redaxios? Somebody mentioned something. Read Axios. Using native fetch. Does it though? Does it? Let's look at the source. Get. Go to the Redaxios function, which is here. It makes the request. It's okay if this fails. Response.data will be the unparsed value. Does it look at the status code? Does it look at .ok? So okay, if it's not okay, it rejects the promise. Cool. Yeah, I don't know. Have I ever looked into the DDD architecture? I have not. No. Why would you use such a feature, though, speaking of using fetch with Axios? Because Axios just provides the higher level, is a higher level wrapper, right? And it does all of those things that I mentioned. I feel like I've done this. I don't know. It doesn't matter. Axios is it's fine as it is. Null means nothing and undefined. Yeah, so let's go back to that question. So this is an interview question. If you search this on the web, you're bound to find like 100 different answers to it. But null is explicitly null. And if we're talking about in JavaScript, null, you have to explicitly set something to be null. Whereas undefined is the absence of a value. So if you declare a variable and you don't put anything in it, it defaults to undefined. But if you find anything that's null, then that means somebody wrote some code somewhere to put null into that variable. That's the main difference. Reading open source code. Yeah, pretty much. Wait. That sounds like the same thing to me. Says sample. No. It's different because null, you literally have to write code that says variable equals null, whereas undefined is the default value. It's the absence of a value. What if you create your own error handler in which you create an HTTP error class that extends from error and receives a message and code as parameters? Yes, you could do that. I'm not going to do that. What's up, Florin? How's it going? Null is a value. Yeah. All right, so null is an empty bucket. Undefined is the lack of an empty bucket. I like that. Thank you, Acid Spark. And anonymous, stop it. I have to. So here's the thing. I have to. I appreciate you. Thank you for the gifted sub. But I was supposed to let that sub run out so that I could request a permanent sub. But now I gotta wait another 30 days. But thank you, Anonymous. Thank you for the gifted sub. When would you use null instead of undefined? If you explicitly want to check for the absence of a value, because it's possible that somehow your code results in it being undefined. The other thing is, I was specifically talking about variables, but you could, if you look at an object in JavaScript, a missing property has the value of undefined because it's not there. Whereas you technically could set a missing property to be null. Yeah. Cool. Let's stop talking about this. I appreciate your question, but you have derailed the entire stream. What do you have to say for yourself? No, I'm just kidding. Let's keep going. Okay, so that was fetch. And that's how it works. Let's also, so I'll show you, like, what the one last thing that I didn't demonstrate was requesting something that responds with text, right? So if I request the Twitch homepage URL, this should respond with text, right? Not JSON. So hopefully I wrote this in the right way. Like, hopefully the content type is not application JSON, which means I'm going to parse it as text. And Johnny Drama, thank you for the gifted sub to Ronin Bites. Now we should see, yeah, we get back the HTML. Cool. But if you're using fetch, this is what you got to do, plus more if you want it to be similar to Axios. That's just why I mentioned it. Now, any of these other libraries are likely going to behave very similar to Axios. So any last thoughts or questions about Fetch before we move on to got? I think we're going to use got next to do exactly the same thing. At the end of the day, they're all doing exactly the same thing. Not the first time that's happened. Yeah, it's all good, Sample. Let's acknowledge those follows. Frogstud, thanks for being here. And Nihat, thank you for the follow. And LBGDN, thank you for the following. Druxedo, thanks for the follow. Keka, thank you. Dennis, welcome. Hello, Haxi and Corrupt. And I feel like you followed before. And thank you to Philip, thanks for being here. What's up, Gray Lions and Frank Spurt and Nyan and Atomi. And oh wait, no, maybe you joined the Discord. I saw your name in the Discord. I don't know. What's up, Sack of Potatoes, Beastodon and Fashslash and BMAT and Kretosensi and Isbrick and Skiaz and Aztala. Thank you very much for that Twitch Prime sub. And Namar on PC, thanks for being here. What's up, Echo One and Blue Comic and Dev Ribbon and Eat and the Rapid Mango. Welcome. Hello, Amos and Bizra and Jetpack Guy and Maestro Lee's son. Thank you all for following. Fetch is bare bones. You need to write bare code. Yeah. Do they all handle cores the same way by default? We're in Node.js, so cores doesn't matter. So cores is only a restriction if your code is running inside of the web browser. This is a process on my computer. It's not going to stop me from making requests to APIs that don't set the course header. Hello, Waviness. Welcome to the show. I had to code in PHP last night. And hello, Not Boobies. Welcome to the show. Is this YouTube content because it's too long? No, we could boil it down. We're just talking. I don't know. Should I learn Vue or skip to Nuxt? Oh, I've really only done one stream on Nuxt specifically. I would say learn Vue first, because Nuxt does a lot of things for you. But you still have to know Vue to be able to use Nuxt. So I would say just learn basic Vue first. I don't know. You do what you want, but that's my opinion. Fetch is not part of the standard API node. It's not. So that's why we have to install something like Node Fetch or Isomorphic Fetch or WhatWG Fetch. So all of these are separate libraries published on NPM that implement the Fetch API, because it's not directly in Node.js. It is in the browser, but it's not in Node. Why do you need Axios when there's built-in Fetch? Scroll back like 20 minutes in the VOD. What are IAMs used for? I don't know. I don't know what that means. Can I do a tutorial on hosting Node? Yes, I can. Do I have a video on creating custom API and deploying it? Yes, I do. Check out my YouTube and also check out my my videos. So if you go to coding.garden/videos, I can do this. Coding.garden/videos. You can search across all of my videos, and just type API or type deploy. What was that other thing? If you look at this challenge, I show how to host with Heroku. We host with a lot of different things here. This will be uploaded to YouTube afterwards. Can I skip the request lib because it's deprecated? No, there are still. Let me show you really quick. There are still Node.js packages that are dependent on request, even though it's deprecated. So if we take a look at the request package, look at this. There are 50,000 packages on NPM that have request as a dependency. I bet you at least 2 of them have not been updated. It still has 20 million weekly downloads, right? So it says it's deprecated, but it still has 20 million weekly downloads. So I'm still going to show this because a lot of people use it. I'm going to tell people that they shouldn't use it, but if you come across code that uses it, this is basically what it's doing. Could we possibly use XML HTTP request in Node? No. We're going to get there. I want to do this as well, but near the end, we're just going to use the core modules, the HTTP module, potentially the NAT module. I don't even know. We're going to have to figure this out. But that's how you would replicate XML HTTP requests, basically. request. Is that what it's called? At least 2. Okay. What can we use instead of request? Oh, so any of these things that I have mentioned. So you could potentially use node fetch, though you should probably find a node fetch wrapper. You could use Axios, you could use got, super agent. Any one of these could replace request. And actually, someone linked the issue earlier. Here. Yeah, I'll link to this issue here, but this is an issue on the request GitHub that says, what are some alternative libraries? And here are some. Somebody mentioned Bent. I had actually never heard of Bent before, but that's an option. Request is immortal. I mean, it's just the world of software. People are dependent on things, and then their code never gets updated, and it just stays dependent on that deprecated thing. Use something else. Okay. All right, I'm going to show you got. Now, I have literally never used got before, so let's see how an experienced Node.js developer, what I have to do to use this library got. So I'm going to install it, and I'm going to go, I guess we'll go to their GitHub page. A human-friendly and powerful HTTP request library for Node.js. Let's check it out. Moving from request. Oh, look at this. They have a migration guide. That's beautiful. Good for them. I would say this is not why request is not modern anymore. I mean, possibly. So request does use callbacks by default. They use the error first callback thing that's very popular in Node.js. And then there is request promise, which a lot of people use, which is just a promise wrapper around it. Fetch is built into the browser. Fetch is not built into Node. We're going to keep moving. Okay, this is got. We installed it. How do we do it? We do a try catch. Beautiful. Here's the thing. I like that in their documentation, they show you with the try catch, because so many people write JavaScript code and they don't wrap their HTTP request into try catch. And you should, because it's very possible. Like, the internet I mean, it seems stable. It has 99 point whatever % uptime wherever you are, I guess, maybe. But it's not, I mean, the internet could go down at any second. Something could go wrong with any HTTP request. You can't assume that it's just going to work. So wrap your code in a try catch. So I'll say get with got. That's a funny name. Get with got. Catching wouldn't, yeah, I mean, either use a try catch in an async function or use .catch if you're not using async await. I've talked about it before. If you're using async await, don't use .then. There's no reason to mix the two. Be consistent. If you start mixing them, you're going to run into really weird errors, because if you mix .thens and .catches with async await, it actually swallows errors, potentially, depending on how you do it. So don't do that. Okay, we need got. We're going to require got in like that. Let's pull in our nice little variables from our environment file, like this. And now we can use them. So it looks like got does a get request by default. So we're going to pass in a URL to this function. And it seems like I'm going to like this. So very similar to Axios, how it automatically parses the response body and it puts it on the error, all that good stuff. But you can .catch something that you await. You can, but it will never go into so if you put a .catch right here, this swallows the error. This, if any error gets captured in here, it's not going to go here, right? So then you would remove the try catch. But then the other issue is if the catch gets called here, this technically does resolve and then response becomes undefined here. So you shouldn't use await, you should do a .then and then a .catch. Because otherwise your variable is going to be undefined on the next line. So don't mix them, just don't mix them. There's no point. Use async await or use .then .catch, but don't mix the two. Okay, make a request to the URL. I'm gonna assume that we just pass in the headers like this. Should just work, right? I'll go look at the docs. And Sepeko, thank you for that 2-month resub. Thanks for the content. Oh, you're very welcome. Thanks for hanging out. Great. So specify my client ID, specify my accept header. What's the difference between async await and .then? Async await is syntactic sugar for .then. So .then accepts a callback. So, hey, Anonymous, thank you for that gift to Katoli. Too kind. You're too kind, Anonymous. But when you say .then on something that returns a promise, you must put a callback function in your .then to use the result of that promise after it's been resolved. With async await, you, instead of using a callback function, you specify a variable that the result should be placed inside of when the promise has resolved. And this actually pauses the execution of the function. So you say await, goes off in the background. This doesn't like stop the function. It's in the background. Once this promise resolves, the variable gets put into this variable, and then the value gets put into this variable, and then the execution of the function resumes. But ultimately, you need to know promises for either of them. Async await is syntactic sugar for .then. I normally catch an await, and then I check for not response. Yep, it's not good. That's why I don't like to do. That's exactly why I don't want to do that, because that's how you would do it. So you would say .catch, and then you put your error thing in here. Whatever. I mean, yeah. .catch. But because this resolves, now response is undefined, and so you have to guard the rest of your code and say if response is a thing, do this, and then now the catch would never get called. Just don't mix them. Just don't mix them. I've covered that at least like 4 different times on stream before. You can do error.response body. I don't know if I have optional chaining, and I'm in like node 14 or something like that. Quickly scroll up. I have the technology. Who? Oh, you know what? Do you have weird Unicode characters in your name? What else did you say, Bits? Noticed your channel on YouTube randomly, been watching some videos here and there, fairly entertaining. This is a bit off topic, but I noticed you're premiering Solving Code Wars 2Q and talking about publishing your own solution on GitHub. I have to say, it's against Code Wars rules to do that and may even lead to a ban. I don't think it's a big deal. Oh, yeah, sure. I've been doing it for years, so if they're gonna ban me, they should go ahead and do it. So all of the code that I write for Code Katas is here. So we've done 58 episodes at this point, and every episode is uploaded to YouTube, and all of the code is here. So if they want me to stop, then they can just go ahead and ban me, and I'll stop using Code Wars. That's fine. Oh, you're welcome, Lux Labs. I think that might have been the not sub. It looks like you're not following, or you didn't follow that that recently, Bits. But yeah. Cool. Amen to that. All right, let's keep going. So we need some headers. How do we specify headers? Options.headers. Oh, there's like a before request hook. That's pretty sweet. Is there like an example with an accept header? Got versus Axios. This is literally the first time I've used Axios, or I've used Got. I'm gonna assume this is how you specify headers, because I couldn't find it in my hastily searched hasteful search of the docs. I couldn't find it, but this should be fine. Let's look at the error message. We'll look at the response body. Do I have to? Yeah, I think this is the options object. It should be fine. And then let's try to call it. So I'll say get with got the base URL. Does it work? No. Wait, what? Did I not even get an error? So I'm passing in the URL. I'm attempting to do this. This isn't. This. What am I? What's wrong? What's wrong? What's wrong with this code? If I pass in an options object, do I need to do like URL here? Response.body is probably wrong. Yeah, let's just try logging the response. Body is an empty string. Yeah, so it was able to make the request, but how do we parse the response as JSON? I'm on a VPN, so it doesn't matter if it shows my IP. Let's see. I want some JSON. Oh, do I have to do like response.json very similarly? Okay, so they are using headers here. Yeah, free debugs, that's what we do here. JSON mode. To pass a JSON object as the body, you need to use the JSON option. And then, oh, okay, if I specify the response type as, or I could just do .json on the like that. What? What? It can't be this hard. This is a very popular library, right? 12 million weekly downloads. Okay, I want to make a request. I guess I could specify the response type. Drop that library. This is an extremely popular library. It's like one of the most popular choices for replacing requests. So say the response type is JSON. I could look at the raw body. What? Yeah, let's stop talking about this bits. If you want to talk about it, mention this on the Discord, because that's potentially an issue. We've been doing it for a long time. Let's see. Response.data? Well, data was an empty... That's... It's an... For whatever reason... it's undefined. Let's just make sure that our Axios example still works. Yeah, Axios still works. Well, no, that's requesting Twitch. Let's tell Axios to request the... Yeah, so Axios works. And Kukli, thank you for that 3-month resub. Heart. Dr. Phantom says it in the docs. I'm not very good at reading documentation. I use got instead of got. Okay. Got. Is something trembling in the background? Oh, there's an air conditioner. I don't know if you hear the air conditioner. Is semantically the same as resolve body only. Why use got instead of Axios? We're trying to find that out right now. That's the very question that we're attempting to answer. First of all, I really don't like when such a simple thing is hard to even intuit from the library itself. I'm obviously doing something very wrong. Yeah, I am very much on, like, when people say Code Wars, they know me. They've seen me do it. I mean, they know that I solve them live on YouTube, so yeah. I got this. Okay, so body equals this thing dot JSON. That should work, right? Let's just say error. Cool. But yeah, let's stop talking about it. The next mention of Code Wars gets a 10-minute timeout. Okay. Somebody send me a gist or something like that. Why can't I get the response as JSON? We're using gut. Don't give up. No, I'm not going to give up. Have you seen this show? I don't give up. Okay. I mean, I do give up. we could run it in. So here's the thing. I could watch this. I could figure it out because the response has a raw body property. I added that a second ago, aerodynamic Phoenix, and it did not work. Oh, do I need to? I don't think I combined the two. I didn't say response type JSON and .json. So that gives us a buffer, and if we send that buffer to a string, it's empty. What? Am I specifying the headers in the right way? Using try catch for getting an HTTP error, not a JS error. I do not like it. No, it's for both. It's for either. No, like if that's basically the purpose of what I'm doing right now. So I showed you how do we make a request with Axios. It's easy enough. I use it all the time, and it's very simple. .get, specify your headers, right? Fetch, also fairly simple, but you got to do extra stuff if you want it to behave like Axios. You need to look at the response to see if it has the right status code. You need to look at the content type to be able to parse it. Axios does all of that under the hood. Got seems to be one of the most popular Node.js libraries for making HTTP requests, and I cannot make a GET request with it. Put JSON true inside of my headers. Yeah, I've tried. So I'll show you what I've tried. I've tried this. This just literally gives us nothing. We look at the response. Nothing. Literal nothing. What's the type of this nothing? It's a string. It's literally an empty string. Katoli says this should do. Let's see. Hey, did you at least give me some code? Days since last... Come on, Katoli! I'm trying to figure this out. Days since last Rickroll is now 0. We were at 31 days since the last Rickroll. All right. You can check that out there. If you go to our GitHub, you can submit a PR if a Rickroll happens. And there's an example PR right now. Okay. Does got catch errors under the hood? It should. It should. Await. No. So look at their code. I'm showing you the example. Look at. Yeah, like I would do that because that's how we do it with I looked in the code and that's how they specified it. If I did it the other way, so if I did it like this, response is response an object? It is an object. And if I look at response .json undefined, so there is no JSON property on the response itself. You have to like chain it and then await that. Copy and paste their code, replace the URL of it. No, but we're getting back an empty string. Let's look at. This is the URL that we're calling. But so that's the other issue. Is the response is literally empty. Do I need to do anything special? Dr. Phantom has it. What does Dr. Phantom have? Got. JSON true? JSON true. And then I don't need to do .json. Am I sure I'm not making a head request? I mean, this seems to be a get, right? And that looks like it. I mean, I don't know if it looks like it works, but it seems to work. Just JSON true in this options object like that. Error. What? Why did we get an error? The get method cannot be used with a body. What? What? Is it got.get? JSON is when you're posting. We're just trying to make a GET request, right? Yeah, I can't do that. Response.body is an empty string. I hope it's not got.get. Let's just try it. let's just try it, because this is insane. No, the body is empty. Let me just inspect this response. I'm gonna scroll. Anybody let me know if you see anything interesting. Oh, we're not making a post. We're making a GET request. That's why it should just work, right? No, so I'll show you. We'll run it with Axios. Works fine. We'll run it with got. The body is empty. So you need to specify a correct client ID to get it working from the Twitch dev docs. What's up, Milky Dev? Do I use a razor to shave the side of my heads? Nope. Just a regular buzzer, but with no guard. Buzzer? Hair cutter? What are those things called? Yeah, I mean, we could try it without headers. Wait. Here's the raw headers. Content type is application/JSON. So it is returning application, and it does have a content length of 1257. Yep, just 0. Yeah, thank you, Milky Dev. Well, I need to specify these are HTTP headers. This is not the request body. This technically, so if I do it without the headers, we should get back an error response that is Twitch telling us that we need to specify that header. Yeah, look at that body. Wait. What? They're not. And then if I do this, can I specify the response type as JSON? And then if we look at the body, okay. Yeah, this works at least. It's an error though. When I looked at it before, yeah, oh no, see, it's a string. It's not automatically parsing it. I am actually, look at that body. I'm actually sad that this is so, like, why doesn't it just work? Do I need resolve body only? Maybe? Add .json onto it? So I need to combine response type JSON with .json. It's still a string. Why does this have 12 million weekly downloads? Yeah, I'm asking you. So any Node.js developers watching, here's what I need you to do. I need you to install GOT. I need you to make a GET request to this URL by specify a client ID and an accept header. Can you get it to work? Wait, is it 12 million? 12 million weekly downloads, and I can't make a GET request? On it. Oh, thank you, Mal. Mal usually comes through. Here, I'll specify 12 million imposters. I'll put all the info you need in a quick gist. So this is the URL. You can use this client ID. That's fine. And then you need this accept header. Challenge accepted. What's up, Juicebox Hero? Welcome to the show. Yeah, check out Juicebox Hero. They're a member of our live coders team. It actually says human friendly. This is not. This is not friendly at all. I mean, I've been working on this for like an hour now. Maybe Kitboga can hand you a number, or you can get help if you got problems with the computer. I'm down. It's funny. I was watching him the other day, and I think it was. He said it was me. He was having an issue with PHP that I helped him debug, but he was getting so frustrated that he started calling scammers and then just asking. Like he did like an immediate reveal. He was like, "Listen, I'm really looking for some help. Can you help me debug? Have you heard of this PHP error? Can you help me debug?" None of the scammers knew what he was talking about, but it was still funny. Have I confirmed I'm human? No, I have not. But so. This is honestly the first person that does this. I will gift a sub if you get me some working code. We want to use this library called GOT, which is extremely popular according to npm downloads. And I need to make a GET request to this URL, and I need to specify these two headers. What code is required to do that using the GOT library? If you can now fix this event viewer, you'll. Oh yeah. Oh wait, is his event viewer broken right now? Is that what you're saying? GOT equals require Axios. Yeah, that would work. Can I try this on some other endpoint? You know what? The issue is probably the headers. How do we specify headers? Because we were I think able to make a request to the just to get the HTML of the Twitch homepage. Oh, it's been broken for ages. Right. Oh, okay. But it has no errors. Are the filters just wrong? I don't know, I haven't seen a scam recently where they try to pull up his error event logs. All right. How about this? I'm going to take a 5-minute break, and I'm going to leave it to you all. First person to give me working code that makes a request with GOT to that endpoint, you get some kind of reward. I don't know. I'm going to acknowledge these follows, and then I'm going to take a 5-minute break. Yas Jade, thank you for the follow. Forsaken, thanks for being here. What's up? Din Kalab, thank you for the follow. Trippin' Your Mom, thanks for the follow. Zeldinia, thank you. Muhammad, thank you. What's up, Tama? And Pink, and Swagger God, and Lustanus, and Max Limits, and Astuv, and Ultimaz, and It's Sias, welcome, and Will Sows, thank you for the follows. Works on RunKit. Let's check it out. Oh, I had no idea. I'll have to look into. I used to work in Windows support. Headers. Accept. This is literally what my code looks like. We'll go back to what I had before with my headers. I'll show you. Okay, so this is my code. We have specified a client ID and an accept header in the request. They are doing .json like that. But they specify the URL and the options, right? And then options is an object that has a headers property, has the accept and client ID on it. Yeah, I think the only thing potentially different is adding the .json. We have the await here. Empty response. Please set explicit accept. Here's this. This is what you need to make happen. Buffer JSON? What? Oh, don't specify your token. Mods, can you delete that message from Mac? It has a token in it. All right, Dr. Phantom has some code. Got headers. Is it because I'm using Async Await? Can't be, right? I think I added those earlier. Accept isn't accept. Did I spell accept wrong? Oh, this is just a shorthand. This is a shorthand for this. Like that, which is why my linter is complaining. I'll show you. So if I just log the full response, I think we can see the headers that are sent in the request. Right? Accept. There. So these are the request headers that are being sent. I'm pretty sure it's client-id. So we have an example working with Axios that's just client-id. If I run my Axios code, it works. This works for me. No Rickroll, I promise. Well, yeah, you can send a link, Mal. Put headers inside a headers object? We got code from FTMA's, maybe a new line problem? The problem is async await. This works for me. Oh, well. All right. Well, let's do it without async await. But also, why? why won't it work with async await? It's all just promises. Got URL headers, and then we get back the response. We get that. We log the response. If there is an error, we can do it in the catch. There. Okay. If this works, I'm gonna quit. I quit programming. Never again. I mean, not really. I'm joking, but oh, yeah, look at the body's empty. The body's empty. I guess, okay, maybe there's something, maybe I fat fingered my environment, but I don't see how, because this Axios file is using the exact same variables, right? Let's just put it in manually. Like, I gotta, something's wrong. All right, what is the URL we're making the request to? That. What is the accept header? This. What is the client ID? This. Okay. The body is still empty. I'm looking at this property here. If we look at the body, empty. Alf's solution is working. Check the one I posted with async. Let's look at Alf. Where's Alf's code? Here. Got it working with Async Await. LBGDN. Works on my machine. Maybe my IP. No. Works. Well, what is the fetch file trying to do? And then fetch should just make a request to the URL. So this should work with fetch. It works with fetch. It does not work with got. The response body is still empty. Yeah, all the streams always end up on YouTube. All right. This was the first one I clicked on. I don't know if it's the first working one. I want to find one that uses Async Await. I tried this. This actually works for you, Sharex? Because I've been doing this all day. Specify, and let's go back to Async Await. Like, if I can't get this working with Async Await, then what's the point? What's the point? And Mark me, you have a good night as well. Thanks for being here. Oh wait. No, not log await. We're gonna log the response. Do I have the do I have the wrong package? When we figure out what went wrong, are we gonna be surprised? What do you all think? Who wants to take some bets? Or, bet of like what exactly? So because my code looks fine, there's got to be something else wrong with all of this. Everyone's saying it just works. Okay. I think we'll all start drinking. Oh yeah. So what version of Node.js are you using? So I have got version 11.6. Let's see. What's the latest version? The demo gods. Yeah, it's version 11.6. I don't really consider anything I do demos, because I mean everything I do live on stream we fix anyways. It's just real life. It's just this is just you looking at me do what I do. Well, thank you, One Punch. All right, so I have version 11.6, and I am using version 14.1 of Node.js. Let's just go ahead and do a clean node module install, just in case. Dr. Phantom says it works for me. I'm happy. Using 14.3.1, okay. But we'll try this. We'll try this exactly, because that's what our code looks like right now. We have got. We pass in a URL. We pass in an options object where headers has those two values on it. Nothing. Try node 12. That exact code works for me too. I'm going to use node version 12. I'm going to see. It's Node version 14. That's it. That's it. That's messed up. That's messed up. All right. No, it's it's literally, it doesn't work for me in Node version 14.1. What? What? 12 million downloads. That is, isn't it? It's a very specific node. So yeah, technically I need to upgrade anyways. Install the latest. Is that how that works? Dash stable. I found that Node versions 14 and 14.1 seem to be having the same issue. Well, thank you, Evely. That's ridiculous. All right, I'm going to end the stream right there. This is the state of things in the world. No, I'm just kidding. We'll keep going. 12 is good. Keep it at 12. I mean, I guess 12 is technically the LTS, right? Is it or no? Yeah. 12.18 is the LTS. Yeah. We'll just use 12.18. Oh, it's an open issue. Nice. Makes sense. Never use the cutting edge. I mean, technically I wasn't on cutting edge. Technically I was like, so if you, because I'm on 14.1 and currently 14.9 is the bleeding edge of Node. I was just a few versions behind. Response.body is always empty. Opened on July 8th. Yeah, and then on July 14th, they said it to add to this, Node versions 14.0 and 4.20.1 seem to be having the same issue. Upgrading to greater than or equal to 14.2 seems to resolve it. Okay, if that's the case, I'm going to install the latest version 14. Yeah, 14.9. Here we go. We could fix the bug. And would anybody be interested in seeing that? I could dive deep into the GOT source code to see why this is happening. It's completely unrelated to the question that was answered. Simple says yes. People want to see that. That's interesting. I'm going to take a break first. But sure, I could try to fix it. Has anybody else tried to fix it? These are closed pull requests. No, get that GOT out of here. GOT response bodies are empty on WSL, Windows Subsystem for Linux, I guess. Oh, it's because they're duplicates. Okay. Okay, I'm gonna take a break and then we'll fix it. But okay. Here's the thing. Let's get back. Yeah, let's get back to the I'm gonna at least finish this before we move on to doing something like that. But that'll be fun. We'll do that. But for those of you that just got here, basically what we're doing is we're talking about different ways of making HTTP requests in Node.js. Now, my preferred way is using Axios. So let's do a quick review of that. Axios, npm install Axios. You can do axios.get, axios.put, axios.post, etc. You can specify options like headers and your body and all of that good stuff. Specify the URL you want to make the request to, and you get it back, and it works wonderfully. And I prefer Axios. The reason I prefer Axios is because of error handling. So what you don't see here is if the error response is anything that is not a successful status code, it automatically wraps that in an error object and throws an exception. Whereas with Fetch, that does not happen. So Fetch is actually built into web browsers, and Node Fetch or Isomorphic Fetch or WG Fetch are ways of using Node or using Fetch inside of Node.js. And then you can use the exact same API as in the web browser. It works exactly the same way. But one thing I mentioned is if you're using Fetch directly, you technically need to look at the content type header to decide how you should parse the response. you technically need to look at response.ok to see if it was a successful status code, and then you would need to wrap it in an error object to get it to behave like Axios. So basically all of this code right here, which I've only written in like 10 lines, this should be like 100 lines of well-tested code. Like 100 lines plus tests for doing this types of stuff, and all of that already happens inside of Axios, so you don't have to worry about that. And Jakob, thank you for the 100 bits. And finally, we're using got, and we literally just debugged for like an hour because got was giving us an empty response body. And so got is the new hotness. This has 12 million weekly downloads on npm. And it's called got. And so the way it should work is you say got, you pass in a URL, and I'm gonna go back to my variables. So pass in a URL, gotcha, yeah. Pass in a client ID, and then pass in the accept header. And this is also interesting to me because technically it's not gonna do the content type negotiation for you because I'm expecting the response to be JSON. So let's see what happens if I attempt to make a request to something. Salamini, thank you for the resub. Dot. And I'm going to see what happens if we make a request to an HTTP endpoint that is going to respond with a non-successful status code. So this is going to respond with a 404. Let's see if it logs the error. Let's see if we get error.response, possibly. Let's see. All right, here we go. Oh, I mean, I need to pass the URL in here. Here we go. So, error.response is empty, but error.response. Oh no, it's not empty. Sorry, error.response is the full thing. Error.response.body is the body itself, but it's just a string. It's not actually parsed as JSON. Yeah, so errors. So here's the thing. Even at this point, Axios does more for us. So in the same scenario of an error with Axios, Axios is actually going to parse that response as JSON for us. In this case, we still need to technically parse the response body. So if I had to choose, I would still use Axios. And we can ignore the fact that it took me an hour to figure out that there was a bug in got when being used with Node.js version 14.1. Even if that wasn't the case, this is still not that great because we actually, technically I need to do this. I technically need to do json.parse inside of my error handler to get the actual parse body like that. Yeah, I'm gonna take a break. Now try response type. Json. Nope, I still technically had to do this. Response. I fixed it. Don't freak out, I fixed it. Ugly body. Oh, that did it. Yeah, it's too much. Like, I like the fact that in Axios, I specify a URL, I specify my headers. That's it. That's all. It does everything else for me. Whereas in this case, I need to say response type JSON. I need to say .json. It's too much. Because what if, again, we were talking about earlier, what if we're dealing with an API that doesn't always return JSON? What's going to happen in that case? I don't know. Put your header in the options object. This is the options object. I can skip the .json now. Okay. All right. Symbol.kcapture. What? All right. Yeah, so it's either one or the other. I don't like it. 12 million downloads? Yeah, and the fact that this broke on version, we literally spent an hour debugging. We got an empty response body, and it was specifically this issue. We were using Node version 14.1, and in Node version 14.1, the response bodies are empty. Yeah, there were over 400 people attacking this problem, and everyone was like, "Oh, it works on my machine." And then I looked at my Node version. someone linked us to this issue. I don't know. Okay. Thank you all for trying. I'm glad we figured it out. What else do I want to talk about in this scenario? Super Agent, you can probably check that out. I'm not going to show request. I'm done. I'm done doing this specific thing. But request is something... yeah, we got. Fix the bug? Implement a workaround? No, we just won't support Node version 14.0 and 14.1. Yeah. Possibly. Yeah, whoever linked that issue. I think they weren't even following. Yeah, gotcha. I'll just mention this really quick for anybody that's interested in this kind of thing. So request is definitely like the most popular HTTP request library, but it is deprecated in that it is no longer receiving updates as of February 11th, 2020. This has 20 million weekly downloads, but as you can see, it has 50,000 dependencies. So there are 50,000 packages on NPM that all are dependent on this library called request. And it uses error first callbacks. It doesn't use promises. But this was a popular one, but as you can see in early this year, it's been deprecated. So you can check out request. There are a few others. Yeah, there's a library called request in Python. It's different. It's called the same thing, but they are different and separate. And that's what people use in Python. What did I miss? A lot, in like an hour of debugging. I am going to take a break, though. All right. When I come back, we'll vote. Either I'll continue answering other questions, or we will spend an hour debugging GOT and try to fix it so that it works with version 14.1. But I'll do that when I come back. Thank you all for hanging out with me. This has been fun. DGSN, thank you for that follow. Motosudo, thank you. And Jekka-chan, and Sufel, and Pete Codes, and Beffel, and Ketz, and Jay and Nichols, and Klaus, Dev Walker, and Numbien, and I'm a little crazy, and Nazgul, and Ev Ailey, and M Leon, and Guitar MCMC, and JBats. Thank you all for those follows. Very much appreciated. We got a few stretch from Kiju. And from Slake. Or no, yeah, I guess I redeemed it. This one. An hour ago in my stretch. Also with the stretch. Whew. Silver Designs with a hydrate. Cheers. Luthenberg, also with a hydrate. Was that... I didn't see your name. Thank you. And also, Bosifius, thank you very much. Yep. I am standing right now. Why a deprecated library is so popular? Well, I mean, it was popular before it was deprecated, but the software world potentially moves slow depending on maintenance and stuff like that. But you can see it was deprecated in February, and we are now in September. So that's February, March, April, May, June, July, August. 7-ish months. So in 7 months' time, all 50,000 of these dependents have not switched to something new. Probably because there's a lot of code that uses request. I mean, HTTP request is a lot of what we do in development. So I don't know. Eventually this will be fully deprecated and people will use other things, but you best believe there are some dependencies in here that are never going to be updated, and they're going to be dependent on this deprecated library. Okay. I'm going to take a quick break, and when I come back, we'll vote on what I'm going to do. Now, I'll either continue answering questions, which is what I was doing at the start of this stream, or we'll try to fix GOT. And I'm a little crazy. Thank you for the 100 bits. Much appreciated. Just delete it, and then they will have to update it. It's actually not possible. So especially libraries that have so many dependencies, it's not possible to unpublish them from NPM. You can look at their repo to see why they were deprecated. I think it's just the maintainers didn't want to maintain it anymore. Yeah, like leftpad was basically what made npm introduce all sorts of protocols around like not being able to unpublish a package, because if you heard of the leftpad fiasco, the owner of the leftpad package just unpublished it. And it had thousands of dependencies, including things like Webpack and React scripts and stuff like that. And Flaus, thank you for that Twitch Prime sub. As always, thanks for the great content. You're very welcome. But leftpad got unpublished and just broke thousands of JavaScript libraries. And so now it's not possible to unpublish a library because it could break a lot of things. All right. There's that. There's that. And Gene Blue, thank you for that Twitch Prime sub as well. Much appreciated. Leftpad, have we forgotten how to program? Yeah, so first of all, they should not have been dependent. Oh, did I already link that issue? Cool. Yeah, but they should not have been dependent on a package that does some left padding, and which is also why pad or start pad or pad start got introduced into the JavaScript core language. Yeah, appropriate XKCD. Let's look at it. Oh yeah. We've talked about this one before on stream, but all modern digital infrastructure, a project some random person in Nebraska has been thanklessly maintaining since 2003. It's like, boop. That's leftpad right there. What's the difference between GOT and Axios? At the end of the day, they both make HTTP requests. They just have a different API surface. So they have a different way of passing in objects, a different way of specifying things. What I showed, and in my summary of the two, is that I will still, so I'd never used GOT before, but I will still continue to use Axios because it does a whole lot more for me out of the box. All I got to do is pass it a URL and pass it some headers, and all of the things that should happen by default happen, like content type negotiation, error handling, all that good stuff. All of that is hidden behind this. With GOT, you have to specify that, hey, I want the response type to be JSON, so that way you will parse the response for me. And then there's the other way to do it is like .json. I don't like that. I don't like that at all. So, yeah. Yeah. No, that's my package. Check is even. So here's the thing. I'm pretty sure people have stopped downloading it. Wait, is it all one word? Check is even? Well, still has 10 weekly downloads. So I made this library. It's literally just a function that checks if a value is even. Yeah, it was because of, like, on Programmer Humor, somebody had posted something about something, and I was like, yeah, I'm just going to make this. I didn't tell anybody. I did not show it on stream. I didn't show a single person. And the next day, I pulled it up on stream, and it had, like, 500 weekly downloads. Now, were people actually using it? I don't know. It could have been, it could have been, like, automated things that are, like, getting stats for packages and stuff like that. But yeah, I built check is odd live on stream. And let's look at that one. That one's got 4 weekly downloads. That's what I would like to see. So, yeah. Next level coding. State of the art odd number checking. The main reason I did it was because of a joke. I think it was on Programmer Horror. Somebody posted a screenshot of a check is even function that literally was just if statements for every single number. I don't know. Library-oriented programming, for sure. Okay. Yeah, but what I was getting back to, yeah, if I had to choose between GOT and Axios, I would just use Axios. At the end of the day, they do the same thing, but there are just some specifics, and I'm used to Axios. You say it's a Twitter meme, but it very likely originated on Reddit, or maybe not. Where do things originate these days? Okay, I'm gonna take a break. I did not plan on streaming this long today. You know what? No, I'm done streaming. We've streamed enough. I'm gonna do a quick lightning round of questions. So if you've asked a question, type ! here in the chat, and those questions will bubble up. And I'm gonna put 10 minutes on the clock, and then I'm gonna go, and I'm gonna enjoy my Labor Day. So, No, yeah, I just have to. I can't keep on streaming. Cool. So Richard says, how are you making the chat overlay jump to the side with the keyboard? Oh, I'm using an app called Rectangle. So I used to use Spectacle. If you've watched my Mac setup video, I use a thing called Spectacle. Spectacle is no longer maintained, and Rectangle, which is this, is the replacement for it. And it works in almost exactly the same way. It's just now more maintained. So you can see all of the keyboard shortcuts that I use. And this does it with anything. So full screen, left screen, right screen, top screen, bottom screen, 1 3/4, 1/4, or 1/3, full screen, top right, center screen, top, bottom left. So basically with keyboard shortcuts, I can pull all these things around. You can also change the shortcuts. I'm using the default ones, and it's easy to remember because it's Command Alt left, Command Alt right, Command Alt up, Command Alt down. Does like halves of the screens, and then Control Command left does top right, and then top left, and then you hold Shift and it does left and right bottom. But yeah. So yeah, Windows 10 has it built in. It's not as intuitive to me. Like I know there's not an easy way to do like 1/3 of a screen like that, or 3/4 of the screen like this. But I don't know. I use Rectangle. There's some other ones. Rectangle is free and it's open source. The code's on GitHub. Thanks for the question. Okay, next one from Limeotes. When working with Axios and promises in Node, I keep finding myself nested multiple layers deep when I need to use the result for one request in another one's, since it's all async. Am I doing something wrong? No, it's really just probably the nature of the APIs that you're talking to. So if you're talking to one API, but you need some prior data before making the next request, then you're going to have dependent requests like that. You're going to have things that are nested. And you're going to need to yeah, they're going to be dependent on each other. That's just kind of the way it works. I mean, the other ways to do things like this, like I see what you're potentially, another scenario is you get some response from an API, but that needs to be like state for your entire application. Like there are other functions that are dependent on it, and that thing had to happen first, so now it's nested code. There are some ways around that. Like you could basically have some sort of state manager where you can set and update the state, and wherever you need it, you just use your state manager. But the state manager itself could have async methods on it, so that if it needs to make the API request, it does. But yeah, this is just the nature of coding. If you join our Discord, you can send a message there and maybe provide some example code, and maybe I can come up with a potential refactor. But it just seems like that's the way it is. Windows 10 1/3 or 1/4. Yeah, so Windows 10 only does, at least as far as I know, does halves. Left half, right half. Best resource to prepare for a JavaScript technical interview that you cannot afford to fail. If you cannot afford to fail it, then I don't know. I was gonna say like you should have only applied to the job if you knew you really were gonna get it. I don't know. You can only do as you only know so much, right? Are you a fit for the job or are you not? I don't know. Cool. All right. Am I ever going to finish the home inventory app? I am. But we do it every now and then. All right. A demo for JSON web token refresh token. Not today. Deploy a basic Node app to Versal. It's not working as previously it was. I think it actually is, because I still have some apps that are deployed that way. I could likely build and deploy a Node.js app. Oh, you just mean you really want the job? Yeah, that makes sense. If you look at my frequently asked questions, you can see some links to service providers. Now, we're not going to deploy. Just search my channel for deploy. We deployed plenty of times before. How to deal with the lead developer that knows less than you, but tells you what and how to do stuff. This is life, man. That's just how life works. You can so here's the thing. If they really do know less than you, yeah, it's unfortunate, but if they really do know less than you, then I mean, do your best to construct a way of explaining to them why your way of doing things is better. And potentially, because they know less than you, it's potentially harder for them to understand why the way you want to do it is better. So I'm kind of gonna like flip it on you and basically say, you have to be a better communicator. So even though you know it's better to do it that way, you have to explain it in a way for that person to understand, so that way you can do it the better way. And then, yeah, like other people are saying, is just take their job, but not necessarily, because I have worked jobs where not necessarily the lead developer, but like the project lead or the project manager or someone like that is not technical at all. And so in order to communicate with them, you really have to be able to break things down to their level of understanding and their level of experience. It's not just about like... yeah, I don't know. This is an opportunity to work on your communication and other soft skills. Exactly. And this is life. You're always going to run into scenarios like this because the world is unfair. There are very, very smart people and very, very low level jobs and very, very not very smart people. Very, very not smart people. Very, very not smart people in high level positions as well. But I don't know. It's all relative. All right. Like I got time for like 2 more questions. Type exclamation mark here in the chat if you have a question you'd like me to answer. Dr. Phantom says, I've never used KneeDB, but heard about it when started using Feathers. I still don't know how and where it can help. Can you explain KneeDB? So KneeDB is an in-memory JSON, well, not in-memory, but a file-based JSON database. If you're familiar with SQLite, KneeDB is like the SQLite of MongoDB, if that makes sense. So SQLite is a file-based version of doing things with SQL, and it's all literally everything is just held inside of a file. KneeDB is the same thing. It holds all of your data inside of a .json file, but it gives you a JavaScript library that behaves very similar to the MongoDB library. It's the SQLite of NoSQL. That's the way to say it. Yeah, that's basically it. And so you would honestly never use this in like a production application or any application that has multiple any sort of API that has multiple users or anything like that. You would never use KneeDB in that scenario. But where it is nice is if you have like a desktop application or a mobile application where you just need some sort of flat file database. KneeDB is where that would be useful. All right, anyone else? Type exclamation mark here in the chat if you have a question. And you are here. Yeah, you're welcome, Dr. Phantom. Yeah, so like a desktop app like Electron, you can use KneeDB. You could also use SQLite if you wanted to, but yeah. Can we do the one with native node libraries? It's almost lunchtime. I'm just gonna Google it. Node.js HTTP request. How do we do this? Because I've never done it. I've only ever used a library. How do I make an HTTP request? All right. We request with options and a callback. Can I specify headers? Headers is just an object. Yeah, let's do it. Easy peasy. Here we go. Okay, so if you saw earlier, we did it with got, fetch, Axios. Let's just do it with the core HTTP module. So this is basically, I'm not going to install any dependencies. I'm just going to use what is supported in Node.js. So if we look at this example code that we got, we're bringing in HTTP, and now this is a core module, meaning it's built into Node.js. I don't have to install anything external, so that's great. So where are we making the request to? I'm gonna have to break it down a little bit more, so I'm just gonna copy from my environment file, because I think we need to actually split up like the host and the path and stuff like that, which is a little cumbersome, but it's fine. So these are my variables. So the host is api.twitch.tv. That's the host. The path is /kraken/channels/channel ID. Like that. The port, 443, because that's the HTTPS port. We're going to specify our headers, which is our client ID. time's up. All right, I'm gonna do this and then I'm gonna go. This is the last thing I'm gonna do today. So specify the client ID right here. And then the accept header as well. Cool. All right, so this is it. Am I gonna have to use HTTPS? Maybe I am, because it's an HTTPS request. Does anybody know? Has anybody ever had to do this? How do I know where I'm pointing to? I have a monitor right here. I can see what I'm, but sometimes I just point behind me and it works out. Use HTTP. Okay. Just HTTP. All right. All right. Port should be a number, not a number and a string. Cool. I can do that. You did it. It will work. All right. That's fine. So it automatically does all of the negotiation and everything. Okay. So we're going to make the request with our options. We're going to specify a callback with the response. This is a nice little arrow function right there. When we get data, we're going to add it. And at the end, we're going to have it there and log it all out. Should be fine. Unhandled error event. Socket hangup. Connection reset. All right. I believe do we need to do rec.on error? Error. Socket hangup. Okay, so I'm doing something wrong. Do I need to specify the port? Do I need to specify the host? I hope this doesn't take one. No, I hope that this is easy peasy. Let's look back at this. Yeah, so I removed the port. We just need host and path. Host. Path. Maybe I did need HTTPS? I don't know. Oh. So on data, got response. Hello, Wando. Welcome to the show. We are attempting to use node.js to make an HTTP request without a library. All right, so we have the data event. I wonder if there's any other... Oh, thank you, Paranoid Android. Specify the method. I think it's supposed to do a GET request by default. What are the methods available to us? http.request. Oh, but it's literally just an empty string is the thing when the response is ended. Let's actually log the response right there. Okay. This is the response object. Do we see response headers? Would you look at that? We have response headers. Yeah, so response.headers, the content length is 0. And then it's specifying the location. Oh, I think because it's trying to do HTTP by default. Right? And so it's redirecting to HTTPS. Classic redirect. Okay. So for an HTTPS agent, include the certificate. Oh, await, like a what do you call it? A You await an iterable thing? I don't know. A for await loop. Yes, that's what it is. If I specify the port is 443, does it automatically set the... Do I have an option for a protocol? Async iterable. That's also what I was thinking of. Yeah, and then that has a socket hangup. Let's try it. I'm literally just going to bring in HTTPS instead of HTTP. And then we're going to do HTTPS.request. Let's see, do we actually have autocomplete on that? Yeah, it has a request. It should just work. Yeah, that's awesome. Okay, so I'm excited because this was actually easier than using the GOT library, which we literally debugged for like over an hour. Yeah, it's great. Okay, now here's the thing. We can get back to response. That's beautiful. But now we have a string here. We absolutely have to parse this ourselves. So we would say something like data is json.parse, which is built into node.js, and then pass in that body string. And really I would call this like body because that's kind of what it is, but we get back the response, we build it up, we then parse it, and then we can actually get it, and then that gives us, boom, JSON object. Yeah, so surprising. I've literally never done this before. I've always used a library. This was surprisingly easy. But just because we're here and because it already worked, let's do what Doc is suggesting. For await. And so Beto is asking, what is parsing? Basically, we're taking data from one format and turning it into another format, because by default, the web, it works off of HTTP, which is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. It's just transferring text. Everything is just text. Like even me, the way you're seeing me on your screen right now, started as text, and then it was parsed into some binary, like it's binary represented as text. It's all just text at the end of the day. But to parse it is to take that text and to make some, get some meaning out of it. So basically what we're doing right here, yeah, images are all, everything's text. Basically what we're doing here is we're taking this text and parsing it into an actual JavaScript object. So that way I could do things like object.name. And then that literally gives me coding garden, or object or data. I don't know, is title a property? Status. And that literally gives me the property itself. So this parses it so that I can use it as actual executable, and not an executable, but as an object that has properties on it that I can access and stuff like that. Okay, what we're going to do is for await response for chunk of await response. Yeah. For await, like this. I'll figure it out. And then this needs to be an async function. Beautiful. My linter's complaining because it's like, hey, don't do this, but we will just ignore that because this is fine. So basically what it was before is this was an event emitter. So whenever we're talking about HTTP requests and responses, an HTTP server might take more than one it could be multiple parts, right? It could be that you only get a little bit at a time, and so basically you need to wait for the entire request to finish. You need to get the entire response from the server before you actually use it, and so that's what this is doing. It's waiting on each chunk. I think there's actually only one chunk. Let's see how many we get. Yeah, it's a stream. Yeah, so right, because this response is small enough, it's a single chunk, but it's possible that there are multiple chunks, which is why we're doing that. So any of the other request libraries that we're using is technically doing that stuff under the hood. And isn't this much nicer than all those events? Yeah. So the thing that we were using was we copy pasted from here. So it's the HTTP response object is an event emitter, meaning you can pass callback functions and register them on specific events. So like when data comes in or when the response has ended, and there's other events as well. But with the, what did we call this? Async iterable? Yeah, I gotta go. See you later, Oren. Thanks for being here. Disabling an installed linter is like paying for the gym but never going there. So I tend to have to disable my linter when I'm teaching because it gets in the way of probably some concept that the linter hides on purpose. Okay, cool. Next up is I leave and you go watch something else, but this was fun. I appreciate you all for hanging out with me. And we used technically we used HTTPS, which is a built-in core module that we use to make a request. I'm gonna go now. Did anybody learn anything? Can I just get a smile in the chat if you learned something today? Can you show how to set up the prompt from your bash profile? Yeah, I'll mention that really quick. So I actually don't use Zish. Oh, look at all those smiles. I don't use Zish. I use bash. But if you go to coding.garden/videos, you can see all of my past streams. Look at all you people. Oh, I appreciate you all. And there's this stream, setting up a MacBook for web development. And I show exactly how to set up my terminal. And so I basically use, so you may have seen this. When I open a new tab, it has a quote and then a picture. But it says, "An exotic journey in downtown Newark is in your future." It's just a random quote. But for this, I'm actually using fortune, which is an old Linux command that just outputs a random fortune. Like that. It's random ones. And then I'm piping that into cowsay, which is another Linux command for outputting things. So this, you can make a cow say it. Like that. It's been a business doing pleasure. Some of these are not safe for work. But then you can also specify a specific cow file. And I use the tux cow file. I don't know how to do that. Does it work like that? No, I'd have to look up the man page for cowsay. F. -F. Tux. Yeah. And it does it with tux instead. So those two commands are inside of my bash profile. So if you take a look at my dot files, there, you can see at the very, very top of my bash profile is literally that: fortune, pipe, cowsay, tac f, tux. And so what happens is every single new terminal I open just spits that out. There. Yeah, TLDR is awesome. I probably could have used TLDR with cowsay instead. But I installed a new version of Node, so I need to install it globally again. Yeah, but TLDR is great. It's the modern man pages. Yeah, so check that out. But specifically, this video here, I show you how to set all of that up. So this video walks you through like me setting up my terminal and dot files and all that good stuff. How to set up things. Things. Check that out. Also, just check out my YouTube. There's a bunch of videos and stuff like that. I appreciate you all. Thanks for asking questions. Thanks for hanging out here. No, and I'll also leave you with some homework, some reading. If you're new here, check out the frequently asked questions, because I talk about what MacBook do I use, what keyboard do I use, what is my theme, all of that good stuff is there. And then also check out my gear page, because I spent a lot of work on this, basically walking you through all the gear that I use to stream. And I describe what it is and why I use it. And also I made this diagram. I'm still pretty proud of this diagram. Yeah, I skipped a lot of questions, Pat. But what was your question specifically? Do I know the TLDR command? Did you have another question? Did you have another question? Awesome moment. Nice. Yeah, but here's TLDR. Check it out if you haven't. It basically gives you explicit examples of how to use a command rather than having to like parse through the man pages. Yeah, we're gonna raid. We're gonna raid. Oh, yeah. I don't have time. I don't have time, Pat. We're done. What would you recommend for consuming a RESTful API in React for a total novice? Is Redux and with Axios a good start? If you're a total React novice, don't even reach for Redux yet. No, just use Axios. Yeah, just Axios to make the request and then have local state in your component. That's my answer. If you really want to reach for Redux, you can. If you really, really want to reach for Redux, don't use like the context API or something, or check out Easy Peasy, because I really like this. Yeah, we're gonna raid. That's what we do. We will do that. Oh, they are. Doc, they are. So the way I have it set up on my gear page is if you want to support me, you can click this link. This is going to... It has an embedded... what do you call it? There's an affiliate code. There's an affiliate code. But if you want to protect your privacy, just click that, and that's going to take you directly to Amazon with no affiliate stuff. But every one of these has an affiliate link on it. Okay. I've already been live for too long. I said I was going to take a break, and I gotta, but I'm not. I'm just going. I'm done. We're done streaming now. Bye, everybody. Stick around for the raid. You can go to raidmessages.now.sh. If you are a sub, that's your message. If you're not a sub, that's your message. See you later, Doc. See ya. And that's the website if you go there, the raid website. Next stream is planned for Wednesday. I don't know what it's going to be. We'll see. Maybe more of this. I think it'll be more planned and more structured. But you all are great. Thanks for being here. And wherever we go in this raid, be nice to them. And share the love and all that good stuff. So wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night. And until next time, here's this.